And we are live. Alrighty. So let me turn up the gain a little bit on this. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now a little bit better? Hopefully you can. Alright. So tonight we are going to be joined by my friends Turkey Tom, Oki's Weird Stories, and Slush. They're going to be on in just a couple minutes. And we will be talking about the movie Scream, which I rewatched last night. I saw it back when I was in college, and when I was in high school. I mean, it's like one of those movies you can't really, you can't escape. It's all over the pop culture. It's directed by Wes Craven, and it's just overall a very solid horror film, satire, comedy. It's a mix. It's a mix of a lot of things. Hey, how's it going, Joseph? Yeah, so Scream is a mix of a lot of things, and it really started this whole, it started this whole movement of these self-reflexive horror movies, these sort of meta slashers, and we also saw that in the likes of The Cabin in the Woods. Although I have to say, I much prefer Scream to something like The Cabin in the Woods. The Cabin in the Woods for me was a little bit too silly. I don't really like the Joss Whedon style of writing. I'm not soy. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you haven't seen my video on Halloween, I released that. Was that yesterday? It's the end of the week for me, so I released my video on Halloween yesterday. And so go check that out if you haven't already. Hello, bonjour, Monsieur Chinchilla, my Belgian friend. And I believe you are Belgian, right? Here, Slush and Oki are going to join me in literally, Oki says 5 minutes. Turkey Tom is joining in 10 minutes. So I'm just going to talk to you guys for now. Afternoon, Jack. Hey, I am in a new video that's on Class Act Jack's channel. I voiced a part of it, and I will be on another video on Emp Lemon's channel, hopefully this weekend. So look out for a new Emp Lemon video, and you will see my face. You'll see my face, and you'll hear my voice in it. So that's very exciting. And I was correct about Mr. Chinchilla. And so I just want to touch on a few things about Halloween first, before we get the whole gang in here. I noticed that somebody said in the comments today that, I'd have to go back and read it, but the connection to Alfred Hitchcock via Jamie Lee Curtis, I want to address that comment. I knew about that. I had watched or I had heard something about that, but I didn't include it in the video because I didn't think it was really pertinent to, the making of the, I didn't think it was pertinent to the, to the making of the movie. It's a cool little trivia fact, but, when I make my videos, it's sort of like there's this like wealth of information that I have to distill down into 10 minutes. And I can't say everything that I really want to say in 10 minutes. I try to basically get the most important stuff across. I try to make it concise. I try to make it entertaining. So I mean, there's a lot more to talk about with Halloween, and so one of the reasons why we're talking about Scream tonight is Scream is sort of commenting on Halloween in a lot of ways. And which scene was supposed to be the Vsauce 2 parody? I go, it's when I walk up and I say, this person made like this. Oh, hey, I say, so it made the town of Haddonfield, Illinois famous, right? Wrong. Like I just do the wrong thing. That's really just, it was just me saying wrong that was the Vsauce 2 parody. It wasn't like so much of a parody. Oh, hey, Oki's in the chat. Oki, I can't hear you for some reason. I see that you're talking, but I can't hear you. I don't know why. Can you guys hear Oki on your end? Chinchilla, Steve, can you hear Oki? Is he coming through? I'm not hearing anything. What the heck? Okay, yeah, I'm not getting anything from this Discord. I don't know what's going on. All right, let me troubleshoot this. This is so weird. I've never... Default, desktop audio. 2. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can't hear anything. Oh yeah, Sam Loomis. And Sam Loomis is also mentioned in Scream. All right, guys. Yeah, but you can't hear, like, what the heck is going on with Discord? Let me leave this chat and come back in. All right, it's something to do with my Discord settings here. Just give me one moment. I'm going to... Yes. It always does this. It's so stupid. All right, can you guys hear me now?
We
okay.
We can hear you.
Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, no, okay, so you guys are good. It does this really... Okay, sorry about that. It does this really stupid thing that when I plug in my mic, it'll then, like, put my output as my mic, so then I can't hear anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So anyways, guys. So we got that working. I want to introduce Oki's Weird Stories and Slush. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, and you guys also just recently put out new videos, so just tell us about it.
Gay frogs.
Yeah,
Go
Oki,
on
you start.
Oki's Weird Stories on YouTube. Watch about gay frogs, learn about gay frogs. Alex Jones was sort of right. Okay, wake up, people.
He's always right.
There we go. There's
joined
Turkey
here
Tom.
by yeah.
So, you go, Slush.
I'm Slush. I guess you want me to talk about my last video real quick? My last video was about why... It's pretty much about why, like, you might think a channel on YouTube is successful because they get a lot of views on their videos and they have a lot of subscribers, but it's actually bullshit. And I tell you why I think that's true, at least, based on my own personal experience. And, yeah, I don't know. I usually make videos about, like, gaming and, like, Twitch and stuff like that. Documentaries, usually.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, Slush has some really good stuff. I've watched videos by everyone in here, and Slush makes some really great stuff if you're into, yeah, I fixed the echo, guys. Yeah, I fixed the echo. Yeah, like he made the video on Wreckful and on Dr. Disrespect. It's in Newgrounds. I really like your Newgrounds video.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and so then Turkey Tom, who is a mainstay of the Kino Corner channel at this point.
Hello.
And yeah, if you've seen my dry video or the spree video, then you've run into Turkey Tom. I got a comment on my spree video about you, Tom. I wanted to. Yeah, someone said, I looked up this Turkey Tom guy and he seems like a real asshole. You better.
Yeah. True. Well, in the video, aren't you like you like make a phone call being like, Kino, your videos suck or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I think it's like it's meant
It's like
to
your
make
stream
people feel
sucks.
smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so JUTV has a $5 super chat, and he says, I'm not trying to get political or anything, but why are you so fat? You could land 2 entire B-52 bombers on your ass and still have room to spare. Thanks, JU.
Nice.
That's just a typical JU.
I was talking about my dick.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, we are talking about Scream, 1995, directed by Wes Craven, who was one of the biggest horror directors. I think that when people think about horror directors from the late 20th century, they think John Carpenter, George Romero, Dario Argento, and Wes Craven. I think that those are all big names that come to mind. And Scream sort of opened up this. It came at really the end of when slashers were big, and it was like making fun of the formula of the slasher movie, but also it was also like an homage to the last to the decades when slashers were big, and
It sort of rejuvenized the whole genre in a way.
yeah, because then it spawned like tons and tons of sequels. I mean, they went all the way up to Scream 5, and you know,
Really? There's a fifth one now. What the hell?
there's a fifth one, but it wasn't directed by Wes Craven. It was made after he died, so you know, kind of not.
There's also
based.
like a
It's
show,
not
I
even
believe.
out yet. It's coming out in 2022. It says.
Oh, really? 2022?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
They have a show on MTV I've seen. So like.
Really?
Oh yeah, I watched that too. I actually thought that was not bad. The first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I didn't watch all of it. I watched like the beginning of the first season, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It spawned a bunch of replicas as well, like I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
just a whole bunch of shitty like teen slasher movies
Yeah,
that
it
came out
started,
after
like-
that.
They're like a bunch of like modern teen slasher movies of the 90s or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. And it was sort of like it, and it was sort of like slashers that were very sort of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, like
Wall breaking.
yeah, fourth wall breaking ish. And I was saying earlier in the stream that like, I guess another like big box office success and movie you could compare this to, but Scream to me is just a whole lot better. Is Cabin in the Woods, which is doing the same thing, but honestly, it came out too late, and I really don't like Joss Whedon's style of writing. Like his humor is cringe. It's like so Reddit tier. I mean, I don't know what you guys think of Cabin in the Woods, but I think it's kind of Reddit.
I like Cabin in the Woods.
I thought it was okay. Yeah.
Like,
He is pretty
it
Reddit.
ends with like a hand coming out of the ground or something. Is that that
Yeah,
movie? Yeah.
Monsters
It's
Incorporated.
also very fourth wall break. Well, not fourth wall breaking, but it's like it's all about taking horror movie tropes and making fun of them, and playing on cliches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
conceptually, it's just a funny movie. I like the idea of it.
I think that Scream, yeah, I think that Cabin in the Woods is trying to be a lot more funny than Scream. But one of the reasons I really like Scream is that it does take itself seriously as a movie. So there is tension and there is actual thrills that you don't get in Cabin in the Woods because it's so like...
Yeah, there's no it
Wink,
doesn't
wink,
feel
nudge,
like a horror
nudge.
movie at
yeah. It's trying to be so goofy that you just honestly you can't feel any tension for any of the characters because you don't really feel anything for any of the characters. You know, it's just all like,
Well, this movie's solid. Like it could stand on its own without all the meta jokes. You know, like it doesn't
Yeah.
need that. That's just incidental to. But
Really
all.
satisfying
I think it
twist
makes
as
it
well.
better. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Like, I think
yeah.
it works really well for Scream because, like in Cabin in the Woods, it's used almost entirely for comedic value, whereas in Scream, it's used to keep you guessing because you're like, oh, they're not going to do all the cliches like the people usually do. Then how are they going to die? Who's the killer going to be and stuff like that?
Yeah, and there are certain tropes that they play into, which I think work really well. But I remember the first time I watched it, that twist at the end really got me. And I recently watched it with someone else actually, and they were like completely fooled by it. Didn't expect her boyfriend to be the killer.
Yeah, even though like they signal the funny thing is that they signal it so much in the movie that he's the killer, but
They
you're
do. They go back on it every time.
Yeah, but you think, oh, he's just a red herring. He's just a red herring, but so many of the other characters are red herrings. Like obviously the okay, so I have the list here: Jamie Kennedy, Randy, because it's so hard for me to like remember all the characters. There's so many
Randy's
characters.
the nerd, the movie nerd.
The movie nerd, yeah. So he's the movie nerd, and he's obviously set up as a red herring, but like an obvious red herring. You know, he's smaller
Yeah.
than the Scream guy. Like it's not him. But there's all these characters they sort of set up to be red herrings because you don't know who the actual killer is. But it's just sort of funny. It's interesting how they signal from the beginning that it is this guy. It's like they keep on beating you over the head like it is what's his name here?
Billy.
Billy. It is Billy. it's Billy, it's Billy, it's Billy, but you're like, no, it's not. Like, that can't be real. like
There's that part in it where the movie nerd points to him and he's like, "Look at his face. You're telling me this guy isn't the killer?"
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
just look at his face.
No, they say leather. He even calls him Leatherface.
Yeah,
yeah. He calls like you're saying Leatherface
in
over
the
there.
movie
Is the killer.
story,
Yeah.
But it's not just him, anyways, right? It's him and Stu.
Yes.
The
It's
friend.
Yeah, it's him and Matthew Lillard, aka Shaggy, in the Scooby-Doo movies.
I love him in Scream. His like
Yeah.
over the top performance is just great.
Yeah.
that was kind of hammy. Like it was over the top. At points I was like, this is like, I don't know. He was doing like some kind of like surfer / I don't know. What was he doing? What was
I feel like he was. I
Bro.
feel like towards the end he was trying to be like a goofy psycho kind of thing. Like he's like losing it and like he's like unself-aware that he's so crazy. But yeah, I mean,
woozy here.
yeah. The end of it in particular, that last scene when they're like stabbing each other is really like campy, and it's clearly intended to be like funny, but I feel like it's like to an extent it's a little over the top.
Yeah, I liked it when he's just like covered in blood and he's dying, and he goes, and
Mom and Dad are gonna be so mad.
Yeah.
It's just like after everything that's happened, that's what he's worried about. Like after he slaughtered like an entire party full of
Something
people.
about that makes it feel more real to me, like his character. The fact that that's what he's worried about is like, yeah, a psycho would be worried about like that instead of the actual morality of it.
It also just like reminds you that these are teenagers. You know, like the characters are teenagers, and you know, even though all of the actors were like 25, I think when they made the movie, like pretty much across the board, everyone was about 25. Dewey, the police officer, David Arquette, was actually younger than Matthew Lillard or Stu, or like than the high school guys. So that was yeah. I mean, they were all, you know, it's the whole Hollywood thing too, and it might have been intentional. The whole Hollywood thing of having like mid 20 somethings playing as 17-year-olds. Yeah.
I mean, that's a very common thing. Yeah, like even in Superbad, Seth Rogen is younger than Jonah Hill, but Jonah Hill's a high school student. Seth Rogen's a cop.
Oh, really?
I had no idea that he's younger than Jonah
Yeah.
Hill.
Sure he is. Yeah.
That's insane.
Seth Rogen, born in '82.
Jonah Hill has some atrazine in the water near his house.
Oh no,
That's
sorry,
what's
they're
going on.
1 year apart. Jonah Hill's 1 year younger than Seth
Oh.
Rogen. But still, it's like they're playing a huge age difference in the movie, and it's believable. But they're actually like the same age, basically.
Atrazine.
Yeah, the chemical that turns the frogs trans, feminizes them. Anyway, yeah.
So I'm going to read a couple chats right now. Monsieur Chinchilla says the meta-ness, I think, is a bit too forced in Cabin in the Woods. I agree. It's too, like, so something that Scream did very well is that it incorporated the meta-ness into the film without actually breaking the film, because it's about these two psychos that just watch tons and tons and tons of horror movies, and they want to enact them out. They want to, like, you know, they want to be like the killers in the horror films. And that's why it's going by the whole, like, they see their world as a movie. But the thing is that it's not, it's done, it like, Craven sort of like walks this thin line. He walks this like thin rope where it's not like it's constantly telling you that it's a movie, but it's sort of like the characters feel like they're in a movie, but the bad guys do, and then the victims, it's all real to them. And I think that sort of you know, that clash of ideologies is what creates some good tension in the film. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I was just thinking when you were describing that kind of reminds me of Funny Games, the Michael Haneke movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're torturing this family, and they're both sadists, and it's a game to them, and they like are winking at the audience, and it's kind of different because it's all about like trying to make the audience complicit in what they're watching. while this is more so. I guess I don't know. What would you say? Can you talk more about that? Because what you just said was interesting. I'm just.
I like what you're saying, because I like the idea that, because, like, for example, like with Sydney, the main character, and her closest friends, like, to them it is very real, and so you sympathize a lot with them, and which makes you actually feel more thrilled when they're in danger and stuff like that. Because I think that if they did if it was always so like campy and self-referential like that, then people probably wouldn't care about the characters, and it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. So I'll expand on that idea a little bit more. So Billy says it's all a movie. All of life is a movie, right? And and the other characters all see this as real, to the point too where, what's her name? Tatum, Rose McGowan. I don't know how to say her last name. Tatum even taunts the killer, saying like, "Oh, I got to survive because I want to be in the sequel." Because it's sort of like they know that the killers see their world as a horror film, in which case the killers are the people who are, who are red-pilled about their situation, right? And Billy even says earlier in the film, you don't get to choose the genre of movie that you're in. Yeah. Like it's almost like Billy and Stu are aware that they're characters in a horror film, and so they're playing it up.
Well, they even say at the end when they reveal that they're the killers, that they got all their inspiration and plans and stuff from watching horror movies.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's sort of like they watch all these horror movies, and so they watch all of these horror movies, and then they want to live in a horror movie. And so it's sort of like, okay, so Scream is them living in that horror movie that they want to live in. Scream is also a movie, it's also just playing out a movie. But to the main characters, to the victims, it's all very real. So they like, so they really want to live, like, especially Neve Campbell, her character of Sydney. I know that I spelled it wrong in the thing. I mean, it's whatever. Her character of Sydney really does want to live, and her character of Sydney is pretty adamant that she lives in reality, and and it's her tenacity to live, and that really sort of makes us root for her. And so the fact that these rules apply, to to the film. The fact that these rules apply to the film isn't so much the film winking at the audience as it's these killers are obviously seeing themselves as being in a horror film, so they're going to go by the tropes. They're going to go by the rules of slasher films.
Well, the rules even in some cases don't apply, right? Because there's that famous scene where Randy is explaining the rules of a horror movie and how to survive. You have to be the virgin, like, you can't have sex, you can't drink or do drugs, and you can't never say "I'll be right back." And in that scene, he's drinking the whole time, and he doesn't die.
Campbell's having sex.
Right, he doesn't die, but right after she goes and has sex, and then she gets attacked,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and they
like
all
right after that.
She doesn't die. She survives the big chase scene at the end.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Yeah, and they all drink, and also earlier on,
does somebody say "I'll be right back" and live? Not including Stu, obviously, because he's one of the killers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if somebody says "I'll be right back" and they live. But also,
oh my god, you know what? I just realized that in that scene when Stu says "I'll be right back," Randy's like, "All right, I'll see you in the knife with the kitchen. I'll see you in the kitchen with the knife."
Oh, in the kitchen with a knife, yeah, and he does.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. Fuck.
Yeah, they break all the rules, so it's sort of like, but see, that's how they win, is by breaking the rules. So Scream is interesting because at what point it really sort of goes with the formula of these slasher movies. And I would say that I'm going to we'll get to talking about this in a second, but it references Halloween so much. But honestly, the formula that it's sort of parodying, in Scream, was more set on not by the original Halloween, but by the Halloween sequels and by the Friday the 13th and those kind of movies, because in the original Halloween, who was killed was more incidental, and there's a few things, but the formula wasn't quite set in stone with the original Halloween. But there had been, by the time Scream came out, slashers had been big for about 15 years, and they were a dime a dozen. So there were more than enough films to compare it to. But Halloween was obviously, like, in the film, compared to Scream quite a lot. And actually, what I was reading, I haven't seen Halloween H2O or H20, like 20 years later. They watched Scream in that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the one where they're like, it's like a reality show and they're staying in Michael Myers' old house or something?
I'm not sure. I've seen.
Or maybe that's Resurrection or something.
That actually sounds kind of good. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Whatever you were describing there.
It's called like H20 or H2O, Halloween H2O. Matt Booty sends his $2 super chat. He says, "Hey, smiley face. Hey there, Matt. How's it going? We're just chilling here. It's Thursday night, last night of my work week. So chilling here talking about Scream." I want to also point out, before I forget, that I will be doing my Spree giveaway tomorrow. So I'll be announcing whoever won my copy of Spree. Jared Wignall says that was Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes. The reality.
Nice.
The reality one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was Halloween Resurrection. I haven't seen that one. Honestly, like,
not that great in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of the Halloween sequels I haven't heard that much about. That was also a funny thing in Scream, is that they're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, which Wes Craven also directed. And she says the first one was good, but the sequels all sucked because Wes Craven sold his rights to Nightmare on Elm Street after.
He did the second one, no?
No, he didn't do the second one.
Oh, really?
Did you notice at one point she says Wes Carpenter?
Yeah, she
like
says
a Wes Carpenter movie.
Yeah, Wes.
That threw me off for a sec there. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that threw me off too.
There is a sequel that Wes Craven did do. It was like New Nightmare or something. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
It's like some sort of weird sequel that he did.
Yeah,
I never saw it though.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I watched Wes Craven's Last House on the Left, I watched Wes Craven's Last House on the Left, and I didn't like it. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know we're not talking about that.
So long ago, and it was just kind of janky. And
yeah,
I guess like the shock value and the time it came out, it makes sense why it became such a big thing.
Yeah, Well, I'm glad it did well because I like Scream and I like the first Nightmare and I like The Hills Have Eyes. Like, I like his other stuff, but Last House on the Left, that's for the real.
He has a couple of misses.
Yeah.
In his career.
Yeah, he's hit or miss.
Yeah, for sure. But when he hit really, really well. Now
he hit iconically.
Yeah. Now with Scream, that was such. I wanted to say this and let you guys talk about this for a little bit. It was such a '90s film. Like,
yeah, I was just about to say, like, not only that, it's produced by Miramax, and then you have all of like the meta shit that was going on, especially in the mid '90s, like, Tarantino, Rodriguez, and just constantly referring back to cinema, and it's just this movie just felt at peace with like all of those other types of, or like Clerks as well. I think I saw a tape of Clerks in the background, and then that one Harvey Keitel movie, Smoke. So like there was just so many wink, wink, nudge, nudge moments.
And even just having Courtney Cox in there makes it feel that much more 90s.
Yeah, especially, and that was during, while she was on Friends.
Yeah, it's like right after Friends started.
Yeah, and the funny thing is too with this is like, the funny thing is like the way that they dress, and it's also that the way that they act is something is just like so 90s, like how Matthew Lillard does his thing and like their Friends group, and just I don't know like how it's shot, like their fashion. When I was watching, I'm like, oh my god,
they really like captured the culture of the time.
Yeah, they did. Like it was just so.
Not necessarily the culture, though. More so the way that it's represented in movies and TV shows.
Yeah,
particularly like Hollywood movies and TV shows. Like, the artifice of it all.
Yeah, I mean, we could, we talked about this, Slush. You guys go check out the Gush podcast. I had a very good conversation with Slush and Glink on there that we talked about this, how like art will imitate life, and then life then imitates the art, and it's then we live in a simulation.
You get in this abstracted place where life has become inspired by imitations of imitations.
Yeah, and in a sense, Scream kind of plays into that, right? That it's life that's influenced by art, but it's art that's influenced, and it kind of exists, and that's the whole meta-ness of Scream, is that it exists as a movie, and also in its world, it exists in its own world, but people in its own world also think that they're in a movie. Like, it is kind of crazy. Now, it's done very elegantly. It's done very, very simply, and with tongue-in-cheek humor. But I mean, it does go into that whole thing of like Nick Theorio says, "All hail Jewish Tom."
Oh, thank you, Nick. Appreciate that.
We're gonna circumcise you next week.
Yeah. Slush knows
One
how to
thing
do it.
Jews may have gotten right, that and bagels. I agree with them on both topics.
What about getting a bunch of money on your 13th birthday? It's pretty dope too.
Yeah, dude, I wish.
Slush, did you get a bunch of money on your 13th birthday?
I did. I had a lot of relatives give me presents in the form of money on my Well, it wasn't on my birthday. It was a few months later during my bar mitzvah, but same thing.
Yeah, man, bar mitzvahs are so fun. I've been to a few. I'm not Jewish, but I'm cool. I get invited to them.
I go to I want to be like Adam Sandler's son, so I can have one of his bar mitzvahs. They sound awesome.
So, reading another chat. First time I saw Scream was in middle school in the sped class. There were two of us, and the other kid brought in the VHS for us to watch. The teacher shut it off after the first kid got gutted. So basically,
what did they expect?
Yeah. Actually, that's a funny story about Scream. They were going to shoot at Santa. So I was reading a whole bunch of trivia, right before we booted up the stream. So they were going to shoot at Santa Rosa High School. So, I don't know, somewhere in California. And I guess like right before they started shooting, the school board finally got around to reading the script and realized how violent it was. And so they were like, no, you can't shoot here. So they had to find a new high school like last minute. And then in the credits, it says like, no thanks to Santa Rosa High School. Like instead of special thanks, it's like, no thanks to this school. This school. So that's.
If you like this movie, please consider egging this high school.
Yeah, exactly. Look at these. If you love this movie, oh wait a second. Nick Theorio says, "I watch less than one movie a year, so this combo is homosexual." All right, then leave.
I don't even understand that logic.
Yeah, I don't understand it either now.
Yeah. All right.
Is the joke like saying homosexual? Is that word in itself funny to you?
Yeah.
Tell him he's fat.
Well, it's not Nick D'Orio. It's Nick.
Oh wait, actually, I didn't say that. This is not harassment on YouTube.
It's Nick D'Orio.
Nothing happened just now.
Yeah, I mean, although I don't.
It's not Nick D'Orio.
It's Nick D'Orio.
Yeah.
Different guy.
He's on.
Okay.
He's on a lot of Augie's chats, I think.
Don't know how you got them confused.
I was just
yeah. How am I supposed to know there's two people with almost the same name?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how you're talking about two, villains in this movie and how they're psychopathic and obsessed with horror movies, and they're kind of detached from reality and sadistic. And God, I just keep thinking of Michael Haneke movies because that was his whole, like, a lot of his movies deal with that. So like in Benji's video, where the main character is masturbating to slasher movies. Like that's the main protagonist. And then like I said, funny games and just God, yeah. It's
and I think that Scream, because I think that with Scream it kind of kicked off this wave, at least in American cinema, of this like meta. So Kim Jong-un comes in to rescue us and says, I watch more than one movie a year, so this combo is kind of straight. All right.
Nice.
We're officially back to being based. So it kind of kicked off this like a whole American sort of, I mean, even before this, like you want to look and say Pulp Fiction 1994 was doing sort of what Scream was doing, but with the
even Reservoir Dogs did.
Yeah,
you mean like being
with the
like
crime
having
film.
the whole movie buff type characters in there or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's just sort of like
That's actually a great point. Tarantino sort of pioneered that into popularity, didn't he?
Yeah,
him and like Kevin Smith, I guess, as well.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
It was the whole like
sense.
independent movement, and I think that it was the independent movement that came out of the 80s, and it's similar in a sense to the French New Wave, because if you think about it,
Yeah.
it's like when the French New Wave came out, it was very meta sort of films, like Godard's early films, like Breathless and stuff like that. They were very meta about the films that came before, about like film noir, about like the golden age of Hollywood type of movies, and those sorts of things. And so it makes sense that when this like American new indie wave that comes out, like with the Coen brothers and Tarantino and Linklater and Rodriguez and Kevin Smith, that they'd be meta about the films that they grew up with. And
Yeah, they were all like movie geeks, right? And
Yeah.
like, and they played with genre, like not like the French New Wave, and then also the wave in the '90s with all of those directors that you just said. Maybe not Linklater too much, but the rest of them, they just, they take genre and then they twist it around and they put their own spin on it. And
like I think a great example of that would be the Coen brothers' Fargo. Which really played with the whole police procedural genre. So Braden Murphy Travel sends a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And he says, do you think slasher films will make a resurgence after COVID-19? Or do you think that they'll go away, like how zombie films became repetitive and lame? I don't know if COVID-19 would have anything to do with slasher films becoming big again. I'm trying to think.
I was curious as to why they were asking that in specific. Like, what does it have to do with?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of horror films.
Like the movies still kind of do well in theaters. Like I'm thinking about like Don't Breathe, which came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know, like every time you see like an independent movie that makes over $100 million with like no budget at all. I'm not saying that Don't Breathe didn't have a budget. Anyway, they usually are like slasher movies or like horror.
They're always horror movies. They're like always horror movies.
I mean, I think that horrors in general will always have a place, because horror is a genre where even if it's not that good, usually they could be fairly enjoyable. And so something that I have that I think Wes Craven understood, and it's just it's how I look at horror, is that horror and comedy are in the same spectrum. I don't know. There's something about it. Like it's.
Well, I think they both kind of act as a commentary on society in some way, right?
Well. I mean, my reasoning is a lot more simplistic. So my reasoning.
All film acts as a commentary on society.
So my reasoning, and this is just obviously you can poke so many holes into this, but it's just what I like to say, is that a bad horror movie is a comedy and a bad comedy is a horror movie.
That is great. I do like that. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but I also think like really inventive deaths. There's something funny about the way that Rose McGowan dies in this movie with,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the garage.
Yeah.
And just there's something comical about that. Or even I think about this isn't a horror movie, but just like what is that latest Tarantino movie? Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Him just killing the kids at the end. Sorry, spoilers.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's
That
funny.
was so funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
Absurd violence, essentially.
Yeah, and it's just like how the Jason movies can be funny because of how absurd Jason's kills can get, you know?
Yeah.
I think the unfortunate part about the slasher genre though is they kind of realized that like people were aware that the movies were like really bad, and so I think with genres like with slasher, more specifically with like the Friday franchise, they started getting like bad on purpose and like really campy, which I think kind of ruins it. I think they work best. Yeah, I think they work best if they're like unintentionally bad as opposed to like trying to play into what the audience wants. I feel like that ruins some of it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's much with like Sharknado. Like I feel like the first one was kind of like just a retard movie made by retards, and then after that they like were aware of the audience watching it and they try to play into it, and that kind of ruins the immersion.
Yeah, and speaking of Sharknado, it didn't just spawn I don't know how many like direct sequels, but there was also like Three-Headed Shark Attack, which was filmed in my town, Mississippi River Sharks, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. It was like all these sort of like shark-based things, and I think that similar things happen to the slashers because I know that after Halloween was a huge success, it made like $100 million or something crazy like that. I mean, you're talking 1978, and it was made for $325,000. So it made just tons of profit. So Friday the 13th was basically just a clone of Halloween, but dumbed down. And then a lot of the Friday the 13th sequels were even further sort of dumbed down from that. And then Nightmare on Elm Street came out, and that was a slasher, but it did a lot of different things. The whole like Freddy being it was pretty inventive. Freddy being in the dreams, and then it like added this whole extra layer where it's like you don't want to go to sleep, and it was able to be surreal and and stuff like that, and have really cool set pieces. But then they also just kind of ran that into the ground, and then there were so many just like slashers that weren't as iconic as Nightmare on Elm Street or as Friday the 13th or Halloween, and so during the
a lot of just quickly, a lot of the Italian Gallo movies, I think that's how you pronounce it. That's like the 70s. Like those are all slasher movies that don't have the same cultural relevance that these like the 80s American takes on it. But go on, finish your point.
So what I was saying is like talking about oversaturation. So you're thinking about the 80s. I mean, there's a Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and a Halloween movie basically coming out like each year in the 80s. Oh yeah, Child's Play. Child's Play was another one. You had Child's Play, and then they're still making the Chucky movies. But Child's Play is more of a comedy. Like, it is a slasher, but it was like a slasher comedy. I've never been scared at any movie starring Chucky. Chucky is too much of like a wisecracker, honestly, to be scary for me. But you had all these slasher films that were coming out. I mean, plus like less iconic ones that were coming out year to year. Like I think you had what was that, like the Valentine one? I don't know. Like there's My Bloody Valentine. Wait, no, that's the band. Yeah,
I think there's a band and a movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, but you had all these coming out, so it got oversaturated in the 80s. So I think that Wes Craven sort of, and it wasn't just Wes Craven, it was also the writer. They just had to understand that the only way to sort of move on, the only way to do something new was to go meta, because the only way that you could make a slasher at that point was to be meta about it and to kind of joke about it, because it had been so overdone. But it's also a movie about how the slashers are overdone or were overdone. I mean, nowadays I don't think they are. Like nowadays you could probably make a superhero movie that kind of does the same thing that Scream did. in at that time.
I think that's a natural progression. Like that's why when I was watching it earlier and typing in the group chat, I was talking about De Palma and specifically Body Double, because that movie it takes like the mystery thriller genre and it just makes it absurd, and it's just full of references, and it's made, and De Palma is like such a movie geek, and he almost has like a very similar approach that Wes Craven takes when in Scream, where it's part thriller, kind of a horror movie, kind of actually sort of has like slasher-esque sequences in it, but then it's also just a commentary on the meta of the genre of thriller, and and that's after a lot of his earlier work where he was just doing straightforward mystery thrillers. Basically all of those movies that he was doing up until that point were just, he was trying to be Hitchcock, and like just with something like Blowout, I would say he he succeeded.
Well,
that's like the most Hitchcockian movie that isn't made by Hitchcock.
I might do a stream on Blowout next month, since that's a Thanksgiving movie.
Oh, dude, I'm down. I love that movie.
I love Blowout. Yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite John Travolta movies. It might be my favorite De Palma movie. I really love Blowout. But people in the chat are saying Deadpool is the Scream of comic book movies. Kim Jong-un says, as bad as it is, I think Snyder's Watchmen is the Scream of comic book movies. Well, I mean, the original Watchmen was the scream of comic books.
Novel.
Yeah, the graphic novel was the scream of comic books. I mean, it was kind of taking all the tropes. Yeah, it was taking all the tropes that of comics at that time and sort of turning them on its head. And people were so like pissed off and surprised that that Alan Moore said he didn't like comics, and it's like, have you read Watchmen? Like, that's not made by a person who likes comics.
He clearly hated Superman. He made a character so OP that it was just like, he was like intentionally stupid how overpowered Dr. Manhattan was.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, Dr. Manhattan doesn't want to have anything to do with humans anymore, and like, obviously, Night Owl was like Batman. I mean, it's. I think that when something gets oversaturated, and it becomes so big in the culture, you're going to have works that just become introspective on whatever is big in the culture. And I think that Scream, was doing that. Someone says, Shaun of the Dead for zombie movies. Possibly.
It's more of a parody, right? I feel like there's a fine line between them, but I do feel like Shaun of the Dead is more of a parody of it's like literally supposed to be a parody of Dawn of the Dead, isn't it?
I mean, sort of, but Dawn of the Dead is in the mall. And Shaun of the Dead is, in the English town and at the pub.
True.
Fair enough. I mean, there were a lot of zombie movies around that time. Shaun of the Dead came out. Shaun of the Dead came out in 2007, and the mid 2000s is when you had like 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later and Dawn of the Dead.
I think Shaun of the Dead is like actually like just a way better movie overall, and just works and functions better as a zombie movie and a horror movie and a drama than like any of those movies that came out during the 2000s, especially when it was just like everything was a fucking zombie movie.
Oh, I know. And then they made the show The Walking Dead. I know a lot of people in this chat probably like The Walking Dead. I
doubt it, dude. Fuck that show.
They have shit taste.
Yeah. I didn't.
They do. I mean,
I honestly couldn't even get through season 1. I was so fed up by zombies by the time that show came out. I really wanted nothing to do with it. I was like, this is so lame. Like, who wants more zombies? So Ramadan Steve says, I'd say Shaun of the Dead is still a solid zombie movie, even without the comedy. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, it functions very well, and it's, very well made. And yeah,
I was just thinking about the meta stuff that we were talking about. Like, almost every Marvel movie now has to have some sort of meta aspect to it.
You can thank Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't
It's
like
pretty
Joss
much
Whedon.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like the one who ruined the.
I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, actually. Like, I actually think that's like a legit good show.
Enough.
But
what
Reddit alert.
He like ruined the Justice League, didn't he?
Yeah, well,
My
that's
friend was telling me about that.
okay. So Justice League. I don't know if the Snyder Cut's going to be any good. I didn't watch the original. I'm probably not going to watch the Snyder Cut. I'm just not that interested. But I don't like Joss Whedon's style of writing. It's so Reddit. It's just Reddit. Like, I don't know a different word for it other than that. Like, honestly.
Yeah, but I agree with you on that one. I feel that.
I think even like without his because I'm not crazy about a lot of his quippy dialogue. It is. I think at one point in 2012 it was, or even earlier than that, there was something kind of about it that I would be like, hey, that's cool, you know. But now it's like it's so overdone. I've read too much shit on Reddit to be interested in seeing the same thing over and over and over again. But what Joss Whedon does in Buffy the Vampire Slayer is he shits out like really well-formed narratives for each episode, like, and you can tell that this guy is kind of like he can shit this shit out in his sleep, like narratives that work and function in such a way that like it almost seems effortless for him. And then he adds the quippy dialogue on top, and they could get a little bit grating, but I think he's a really, really good storyteller, in my opinion. Well, at least with that's what
his Marvel writing. So someone asked me, Braden Murphy asked me, Kino, did you like Joss Whedon's work on the Avengers? So an Avengers dialogue sequence, is like a Reddit thread where they're trying to outdo each other's puns.
And then Robert Downey Jr. gets gold.
Because as Kim Jong-un says, Joss Whedon has 420.69 Reddit gold. Yes, he does. He has a lot of Reddit gold. And and it just sort of, it was kind of grating. I know that like I saw somebody break down how in the original Avengers he gave all 6 of them like an equal amount of screen time, which for something like that definitely is, a feat. Balancing all of that. I know that was kind of big for when it came out. But that sort of style that he kind of injected into Marvel. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Marvel before Avengers, and I wasn't a big fan of Marvel after Avengers. But I gotta say, it had a feeling like it got a lot more bland in my taste.
Do you think that it's possible with like Joss Whedon and like guys like Kevin Smith and just that there's a certain type of writing influenced Reddit culture? So that Reddit culture came from guys like Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, Redditors loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and what was the one Joss Whedon show that was big? Firefly. Redditors
Firefly.
all love Firefly.
I liked that a lot.
Yeah, that was a really big show.
Yeah.
Outing
I remember that. I never watched it.
Oki's here outing himself as Reddit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to understand that at the time, I think that my point originally was that like Reddit culture was influenced by that stuff. That stuff was popular at the time. Now it's oversaturated and now it's fucking lame. But back then, that kind of shit, I thought it was cool as fuck. Yeah.
Tom, what do you guys say? You've been silent for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. I just sometimes I don't have anything to say, so I'd rather just let the smart people in the room talk, I guess.
All right, I'm gonna get you.
I don't mean to be so quiet.
I'm gonna get you to talk soon. We'll get back to Scream here in a second. Why was Firefly canceled again? Who knows? Who cares? I don't really care.
I think they because it was Fox who had the licensing and they put the episodes out of order when they.
No, didn't they put it like it released at the same time as the Olympics or something like that?
Possibly, but I also heard that it was like they didn't even put it in order. so it was like difficult for people to, because it wasn't an episodic show. It had a narrative through line that, you know.
Yeah. So Kim Jong-un says, what's the most oddball, interesting, weird MCU movie? Okay, I don't want to stay off on this tangent for too long, but honestly, I don't really think that there is an oddball, interesting, weird MCU movie. They all pretty much follow the same formula. They all...
Yeah.
Your closest is probably going to be Deadpool or that one that's in space that I can't remember the name of.
But
Guardians
that's...
of the Galaxy.
But Deadpool's not MCU. Deadpool is Sony. X-Men
What about
universe.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is, but Guardians of the Galaxy still follows the formula pretty well. Yeah, maybe Guardians, but even at that point, I wouldn't really call it oddball or weird.
All of those movies feel like they're made by a machine, like just an AI algorithm, and then they have PR focus groups, and they just beat it to death. Like, you just see anytime they work with a director who's kind of out there and wants to do something different, they just part ways. Like, the same thing happened with those two guys who
Phil
directed
Lord
the
and...
Lego. Yeah, it's just...
They're all just... They are all
they're
just great.
So safe and corporate.
Yeah, they're too safe, and that's why it's like there's not going to be anything weird. Because if you want to talk about weird, I can tell you about this movie I've seen called Begotten. It's pretty good. I've seen a lot of weird films. We can talk about some David Cronenberg movies like Videodrome or The Brood or The Fly or Shivers. Like, he made some weird movies back in the day. I mean, I didn't watch Cosmopolis, but I heard that was weird, but not necessarily in a good way.
It was boring, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there are like plenty of strange films, but I wouldn't put any Marvel film under that category.
Can I talk about the weirdest movie I've ever seen, real quick here?
Yeah, sure.
It's this Japanese movie from the 70s called The Man Who Stole the Sun, and it's about a high school teacher who breaks into a nuclear bomb facility, steals petroleum, and then starts crafting a homemade nuclear bomb in his like small little apartment while he's... And it's like a procedural, so it really goes in depth. So in depth that they actually had to cut sequences from it, so that because the Japanese government didn't want them putting this out and showing people actually how to make a nuclear bomb. Like, they really got into the whole technicalities of it. So after he makes a nuclear bomb, he blackmails the Japanese government, and he doesn't even know what to ask for. So what he ends up just asking for is, bring the Rolling Stones to Japan, because the Rolling Stones were banned from Japan because of the drug charges, so they couldn't perform in the country.
Huh.
But it's just such a strange, surreal movie, and it constantly has these extreme tonal shifts and really good soundtrack. Just really strange.
Nice.
That main actor in it is like called the Japanese David Bowie.
Nice.
It's just very strange movie. The Man Who Stole the Sun.
Yeah, that reminds me of another really strange Japanese movie I saw, and I didn't really care for, called Tokyo Drifter. I've seen a lot of that guy's movies. I forget his name. Those are like the 1960s movies. Those are kind of like French New Wave-ish. Yeah, and they don't make a lot of sense. So I'm just gonna read some of the stuff. Weirdest movie might be House. So I will actually be talking about House a little bit in my next video. Existence by David Cronenberg was a movie that was such a weird and thought-provoking film. Yeah, I feel like
Existence.
Yeah, House gets mentioned in Scream too, when they're talking in the class about like sequels are always bad, and someone's like, "What about House 2?"
Yeah, but they're talking about a different House.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was another series called House, but House, I think that person in chat is referring to is Houseu, the Japanese film.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, and then that Existence feels like it's a proto, like The Matrix, because it came out a couple of years before The Matrix, and it has a lot of the same ideas, has a lot of the same concepts. I quite like it. I liked it how it had that whole like simulation kind of stuff going on, but with the Cronenberg body horror at the same time. It was fun.
Yeah, I
Crash.
really like that movie.
This person says Crash is my fave Cronenberg. I like Crash.
The book is good. The Crash book.
Yeah,
So.
and this isn't the Crash that is about racism. This is a Crash about James Spader having sex in car crashes. That's a different one. Hey, so I actually have a challenge for you guys, something I wanted to think of. Because I was thinking of like meta-ness and parodies and YouTube and that sort of thing, and you guys know a lot about YouTube. If you had to redo Scream, but you had to recast the characters with people from Red Letter Media, who would be who?
Fuck. That's a good one. I like that.
Mike Sokoloska would be David Arquette's cop character. I think he could do that kind of like humdrum, kind of like aw shucks thing probably, but I don't know. He'd probably also do kind of like deadpan, or maybe he would be the principal. He would play the character that Henry Winkler plays. Like Henry Winkler in the Scream movies, kind of like he seems unhinged in a way, or maybe fucking Rich Evans could play the principal. And then, Jay Bauman, because he's the twink, he could play Neve Campbell.
See, I was thinking that Jay would actually
be the movie nerd. I thought
would be Randy. Yeah.
I was surprised that Randy didn't come up in any of your things. You think that like they would all have potential to be Randy?
That's the thing, is that any of them could be Randy, because
dude. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Ramadan Steve says, "Will Max Landis be involved?"
Oh my God, Max Landis.
Max Landis is the killer.
He probably is a killer.
Probably. He's got some corpses hiding in the Hollywood Hills.
Allegedly. I am not slandering the man. Okay, Max Landis, do not come after me.
This is a joke.
Yeah. I'm sure he's a very good boy. He's a very good guy. Him and his dad. His dad did nothing wrong either.
Mr. Plinkett would be the principal, is what Kim Jong-un says. And then Dylan Smithy says Rich Evans is everyone, a la the Nutty Professor.
Who's AIDS Moby? Who would AIDS Moby be? Wait, what's his real name?
Or who would Jack Packard be?
Yeah, I think that's AIDS Moby, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jack Packard. So you have Jack Packard. Who's the guy with the beard? What's his name? Who's the guy with the beard that looks like the hipster?
Oh, the camera guy, or the
he does the Josh. Yeah. So Josh. Yeah. So we got to think about who Josh would be, and we got to think about who Jack Packard would be.
They would be extras.
No, I think I could honestly see. I could honestly see Jack Packard as one of the killers. He's got that. I mean, not because he was streaming with Movie Bob, but the superior human. But maybe it's just they said Josh would be Cop Man. Dewey. What Scream character are you, Monsieur Chinchilla asks. We still have to find out who Red Letter Media characters would be.
Dude, think about that, because I'm gonna just say real quick. When I saw this movie, it was so many years ago, I actually really thought the movie buff character was really cool. I was like, I kind of want to be like that guy. And then just rewatching it now, it's like, okay, well that's why. That's why I ended up so nerdy. Jeez, I would look at that guy and be like, that guy, yeah, that guy's cool.
He is cool.
Oh, people are asking,
He's
what
confident.
What about the Canadians? You know who the Canadians would be? I know who they would be. They'd be the two guys that were wearing the Scream costumes that are the initial red herrings that get expelled. I think the Canadians. Sorry, Oki and Slush. I know we got two Canadians on this stream. And
we're the Canadians.
Yeah. I think the Canadians would be those guys, but Plinkett, I think Staklasa would be the principal. But who would Rich Evans be? Like, that's what I want to know. Who would Rich Evans be?
Rose McGowan.
Rich Evans trying to go through the doggy door.
Oh my god!
YouTube is censoring my comment about the Canadians being the killers. Yeah, I didn't see that comment.
You
Do
can't.
you have top chatter on or live chat on?
I have live chat on.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I have live chat on, but still sometimes I don't see stuff that comes through. Some stuff I think just gets like auto deleted.
Yeah, YouTube, like, yeah, everything. Like, if you swear or if you say anything, like, if you say kill or something, I'm sure sometimes it'll just get auto deleted. Or my spam folder and held for review folder is like 99% just people swearing.
Yeah, I was looking at my held for review on my recent Halloween video, and I found tons of comments on there, and it was kind of crazy because none of them were like, it was just because they said a swear word. Now people are just typing kill in the chat. Everyone, let's get it kill, like Friday the 13th style in the chat.
I think you can actually change the settings on that so that for your videos it doesn't filter as heavily.
I did.
I looked at that. Yeah, I think I did that.
Yeah, I changed my settings when I kind of figured out how to change it. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff in held for review that was just like, so this person said shit or something, and I'm like, who cares? Like, why should that be held for review? But yeah, no,
yeah.
I changed my settings on that just to kind of let everyone. I prefer my comments just to be completely anarchy. You know, yeah. I like that. I like fostering just like an anarchic, chaotic community because Kino Corner is chaotic neutral. I would say. Maybe it's chaotic good. I don't know. Maybe I'm chaotic good, but I tend to think more neutral. Yeah. So, Rich Evans in Scream. Turkey Tom. Who do you think Rich Evans would be in Scream?
I think he'd do really well as the boyfriend, honestly. I would love to see him there. Yeah. I imagine some of the scenes would be really funny, especially the scene when they have sex. It'd be really awesome. He's like trying to get her to fuck. At the beginning when he's like, I know you have the clothes off rule, or sorry, clothes on rule or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also like the ending scene when he like gets stabbed, he's like, well, looks like I'm stabbed. Like that would be really funny.
Yeah, so I think it would be Rich, and like the other killer would be. I'm trying to think. Who would the other killer be? Jack, maybe. Jack Packard, the dumb guy. I mean, Jack Packard doesn't seem like a dumb guy, but. All right, now someone asked us who would we be in Scream. So I have the characters listed here, and we got Sydney, Gail, Dewey, Billy, Tatum Stewart, and Randy. I nominate Oki to be Randy because I don't want to get funneled into that role.
Well, okay, what does that mean?
I don't want to be the nerd. Yourself. I don't want to be the nerd. I'm not.
Well, you're kind of a nerd.
I'm not a nerd.
Well, you're right. Like.
Okay, guys. Everyone in chat, press 1 if you think I'm a nerd. Press 2 if you don't think I'm a nerd and you think I'm cool.
What the fuck is this guy talking about with his Zuckerberg haircut? And just fucking sitting here talking about Scream with Turkey Tom. Like, you're not a nerd.
All right. So I don't have the thing is I don't have a Zuckerberg haircut. I just didn't cut my hair. Wait, what? People are saying I'm a nerd. Okay. You know what, guys?
You're a film nerd.
Yeah, you're a cool nerd. Come on, like just.
I didn't say
embrace
cool.
it.
Too cool. Okay, all right. Now we're tied. We're tied for cool and we're tied for nerd.
I think it could be both.
Turkey Tom, who are you in Scream?
The killers.
Yeah, definitely the killer. One of them. I feel like I might be the not her boyfriend, but the other guy. I feel like him for sure. Yeah. I could definitely see myself at the end being like, "Mom and Dad, is bad."
I'm getting a little woozy here.
Turkey
It's
Tom
time to
is
tweet.
it's both of the kids in Funny Games.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, you have to watch the original, the Austrian one. I mean, they're the same film, the American and not. They're like shot for shot the exact same, but you know, I always recommended the Austrian one instead because you feel smarter when you're reading subtitles. Yeah. So who would you be, Slush?
I'm trying to think of who I'd be. I might be the cop.
Yeah, I think you'd be Dewey, David Arquette's character.
Could also be the cameraman for Gale Weathers.
Yeah. Who would be Gale Weathers? Nick Diorio, maybe.
Someone who has no morals.
Keemstar.
Keemstar is Gale Weathers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Keemstar is Gale.
Scares.
No,
What's
Scares.
up, guys? It's Gale here. That'd be really good.
I think Keemstar would be better because he's more in your face, like how Gale.
Yeah.
She was so cartoonish, the way that character was portrayed. It was
Yeah.
like so in your face, like, yeah, I am an intrepid reporter, and I'm, you know, I'm gonna get on the scene, and I'm gonna find the dirt, and I'm gonna go
a bitch all the time.
yeah, just to any lengths, and I'll fuck anybody to get a story. Like, it was just so. It was such a caricature.
Someone says, "Who would Venti be?"
Who's Venti?
Brittany Venti.
Oh, like Brittany Venti?
Brittany Venti.
She'd be the friend who gets stuck in the doggy door.
I feel like she could be Gale, honestly.
Yeah, Brittany Venti could be Gale.
She's always doing those videos about people's personal lives and stuff.
Sticks.
Who would be the person who Drew Barrymore plays in the beginning of the movie that dies?
Shoe on a head.
Yeah.
There's a really edgy joke there that I probably would have made in private.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you mean the one where? Yeah, you mean the one about the boyfriend where she's like, "I don't have a boyfriend."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that
Remember when she's on the phone at first? She's like, "I don't have a boyfriend," and then after she's like, "Boyfriend," and his name is Bosch.
Caterino. That's her name. Caterino.
Yeah.
Caterino. Oh yeah. It starts with Caterino and Call Me Carson. Call Me Carson. Just kidding.
The lights turn on in the backyard. There's like 18 boys tied up.
Yeah, I got your boyfriends here.
Wow, this guy's good.
It's just a mass grave. The killers are Turkey Thomas Stew and Billy is Doug Walker.
Who's Doug Walker?
The nostalgia critic. The fucking.
That kind of makes you want it to be like James Rolfe and Doug Walker, though.
Yeah,
that's
what you're talking about.
Yeah. Ass shit. And like he gets like James Rolfe gets stabbed. He goes ass. I feel like shit.
I can't believe that Doug Walker is still relevant somehow. Like, I can't believe that he still has a YouTube channel and he still has that stupid shtick that he does and has been doing for the past 30, 40 years, or however long he's been doing. I'm obviously like exaggerating how long he's been around, but it really feels like that. You look at his content, it's like, dude, you are from a bygone era.
Did you see?
You are so like
he tweeted
the skits and
Damn,
no,
you really hate him, eh?
I despise him. Like, I think he's the worst, really.
Who would
like way worse than Movie Bob?
Yeah,
like way worse.
I don't know if he's worse.
I only
than
know Movie Bob for his tweets. Movie Bob's tweets are some like next level terrible tweets.
Yeah,
and I've also seen like his. Have you seen his like cooking recipes that involve cookies and
Mountain Dew?
What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah,
well, he's cultured, you know.
The Mountain Dew chicken.
So fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Doug Walker and James Rolfe. Although James Rolfe is I still like AVG and I still still like Cinemassacre. I think he has.
I think that the AVGN videos have definitely gotten a lot worse over the years.
Yeah.
Though there are occasionally like some good ones, but something about like whenever I watch James Rolfe, there's this sort of feel that like this guy just really loves the movies and like really thinks horror movies are cool and like I can appreciate that.
Yeah, his stuff is very comfy to watch. It's just sort of like it's nice like comfort food kind of videos. People are asking. People want to know. People want to
Spoonie?
know, what about Spoonie?
So I used to watch a lot of that guy with the glasses. And Spoonie was like,
I too am a patrician.
at first I got into it because I started getting to bad movies. So I remember distinctly, like it was like 2010, and learning about Troll 2, and then learning about The Room.
Oh yeah.
And watching those movies, and then looking up reviews for them, and then thinking that Doug Walker's take on them were pretty funny. But now I look back on it, and it's just him going like, "Huh? What are they doing?" You know,
Yeah.
it's him cuts to him looking exacerbated. But like eventually, I ended up really getting to Spoonie and the nostalgia chick, who's now Lindsay Ellis.
Yeah, Lindsay Ellis.
Yeah, and I still think like, okay, so Spoonie's lazy as fuck, and he just like burned his channel into the ground basically. But
Yeah.
the nostalgia chick, Lindsay Ellis, still actually is doing really well on YouTube.
I feel like he
And,
would like
she
Lindsay
makes-
Ellis a lot.
Kino and
Yeah,
Doug Walker. Okay.
SJW, right?
Okay, guys. Kim Jong-un wants to know, Kino and Doug Walker collab when? Look, I tweet at Doug Walker every now and then. Like the other day, he posted how he made a video about Nicholas Roeg's The Witches, and I quote tweeted him and I said, "Watch my video on it instead," hoping to get his goat. Honestly, I was hoping he would like respond with like call me an asshole or something, but he didn't.
Is this the secret to the famous Kino connection?
Yeah, just being an asshole to people. No, I'm usually. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, because you mentioned Nicholas Roeg. What do you think of Don't Look Now? Because I kind of hate that movie.
You hate it?
Well, I don't hate it. Actually, I'm kind of. I'm being too harsh. I remember watching it and just thinking like, what the fuck was the point of that?
So I think that people go into it with the wrong expectations, and I think that it's like I went into it thinking it was going to be a serious drama film with some horror elements, and I ended up really loving it because of that. But I think that if you go into it thinking it's going to be a horror movie, you will be disappointed. I think I
just felt like even though it was about like lose their child in the beginning of the movie, right? They feel so robotic, and it almost feels like they're not. It doesn't like I think about what the fuck was that movie by the guy who made the Midsummer movie, the one right before that. I forgot why. I don't know why.
Hereditary.
Yeah, I just remember like the way that they dealt with grief in that movie, and then you compare it to Don't Look Now, and one just feels like it happens, and then they're disconnected from it. And then also like Nymphomaniac, not Nymphomaniac. I mean the Lars von Trier movie, Antichrist. Yeah, where it's like it's all about grief and it's serious drama with horror trappings, but it's just so. I
mean, I really
the portrayal of that grief. That portrayal of that grief is just so. It's missing from Don't Look Now.
See, I didn't feel like it was missing. I felt like it was. It was there, but it feels like it's at a point, like it's just at a different stage of the grief where the grief happens, and then they go to Venice a little bit later, and it's about them trying to pick up their lives and start a new life, but it's like they're being haunted by their old life. There is a little bit more of a disconnect there, but I liked what it was going for. Also, I'm hearing echo on somebody's thing. It might be Oki here.
I hear it too, yeah.
So
I'm wearing headphones. I don't.
Okay. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's Slush or Tom. I'm not sure. I'm gonna read
My
something.
green light isn't lighting up. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it's me.
I'm gonna. Chat has kind of blown up, so I just want to read a few things. People asked, did anyone see Medicur's The Guy with the Glasses videos? Yeah, I saw all of them. They were good.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I like
I
this
was to
one.
ask Oki, what did you think about the Down the Rabbit Hole video about Spoonie? Was that pretty accurate?
I barely remember it, but I think the general thing that the theme in that video, what he was going for was that Spoonie. He kind of he found himself in a place where he had some popularity, he was doing something and he liked it, but he just didn't have the motivation or the care to keep it going. And I think because of his he has serious depression, I think and that's I think that got in the way of actually him meeting the potential that he had garnered from what he was doing.
Yeah, I had never heard of Spoonie before then, but it seemed like even apart from the depression, it was also he was just a really weird guy based on that video. He made some comments about that one chick that were really off in the video that really caught me off guard. But from what I understand, he was number 2 or 3 on that guy with the glasses back in the day.
Yeah, he was big back in the day on the guy with the glasses. And somebody else, Braden asked Kino and Chris Chan collab when? I don't wanna say too much, but that's actually a possibility. Yeah, that's actually a possibility. Not even being ironic here. Secret Sunshine has some good grief, no pun intended. Yeah, I've been recommended Secret Sunshine quite a lot. It's on the Criterion channel. I keep seeing it there, so I'll have to check that out. Neil says, your Truman video is great. Much love, sir. Much love back. Kim Jong-un says, best film YouTubers besides Doug Walker. Well, then, really, there isn't a list. I mean, it's just Doug Walker. I mean, who else would you watch? If you're not watching Doug Walker on YouTube, then what are you even doing on this website?
I'd say okay, I'm gonna answer that sincerely. Every Frame of Painting and Captain Christian. And then, cause I'm on a stream with you here, and actually, cause I actually do like your content, then, Kino's good. I think Kino, you're gonna get there.
Yeah,
just keep
hopefully.
going.
Hopefully, it's just, I mean, I have my own full-time job, so this is it's a side thing right now. So, I'm glad I'm not trying to subsist on my $50 a month I get from YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah, I mean, you are at 10K, which is I think 5 times what it was when I first met you. And that was less than a year ago, so you're definitely moving up.
Yeah. Someone says Movie Bob is SS tier. Correct. Movie Bob is definitely at the top. I would say it's my favorites are Doug Walker, Movie Bob, Chris Stuckman, 24 Frames of Nick, Nerdstalgic, Jeremy Johns. I think I called him in our chat last night.
Nerdwriter's done some pretty great film videos.
Nerdwriter sucks, dude.
I don't like Nerdwriter. I don't like Nerdwriter.
He's such a fucking pseudo-intellectual. Holy shit! And you know what? I don't blame him. You know what I blame? I blame his voice, upload rate. Yeah, his voice sucks too. Yeah, I hate that. But it's his
what does his upload rate have to do with it?
Because he puts out videos and he'll research for a day, and then most of his time goes into editing it, and he doesn't have to form a fully formed opinion. He just he doesn't invest enough time into it to actually put out something that would a Captain Christian or an Every Frame's a Painting would put out.
Yeah.
He's just he's a one-man content mill. And
I definitely don't think of him as a content mill.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say he's a content mill, but I would agree that his videos just a lot of his videos do have a lot of filler in them. Yeah.
I think he put out some really great stuff. I like his video on Munich. I think that sound design in Munich. It's one of my favorites.
That's a good movie. I'll check that out. His video on that.
I also liked his video on Parasite.
I was about to say I didn't like that.
Really?
I was just about to say I really didn't like that because it was him.
Kino Bloodsports. Kino Bloodsports, everybody. Oki versus Slush. Kino Bloodsports. Turkey Tom and I commentating. All right, Tom. Who do you think? Who are you betting on with this one?
Okay.
Oki. You're betting on Oki.
Okay. So you want me to give my spiel here just quickly? All right. It was him the whole time making a big nothing out of a montage, and acting like it's some kind of revolutionary innovation that's never been done before. And literally, it's just a montage. And it's not even the most interesting aspect of the film.
I guess you just didn't get the video, but it's okay. We can't.
Okay, well then explain the video to me. Explain the video to me, because it has been a while. I do admit that. So
I think that it's more like it is a montage, but he points out like why the montage is as effective as it is and how it is playing against how it's been a while since I've seen this essay, but like his whole point was how the montage is effectively, it's like playing. I have to rewatch the video at this point. It's been like over a year since I've seen it. I just remember it was something about the way like the events of the montage like mirror like these other set of events which mirror the whole movie, and everything is like kind of a mirror of itself. I thought it was cool the way he pointed it out.
I mean, I haven't seen the video, so I can't comment.
We're getting really sidetracked for a screamed
stream. Yeah, I know. I mean, we like. I like Daisuke Beppu.
Is that an anime?
Let me look it up. I have a feeling that this is.
Is this Jav?
Daisuke Beppu. I'm gonna look this up. I honestly don't know what it is.
Oh, it's a YouTuber.
Oh, it's a YouTuber.
He seems to talk about some interesting stuff here.
Yeah,
Video Drone, Reanimator. Look at this.
Yeah, two really good films right there. I really like Reanimator. Oh, it needs a smaller.
Yeah, Reanimator's good.
Yeah.
Yo, Reanimator stole the theme song from what was it? I think The Exorcist or something. Like it's almost exactly the same. Let me listen to I remember hearing this and connecting to it. But anyway, go on. I'm gonna listen.
He has an interview with Carlos Cuarón. That's Alfonso Cuarón's son, I think, isn't it? Isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is. No, co-writer. It's his brother. Co-writer of films like Solo con tu pareja and Y tu mamá también. Actually, Solo con tu pareja is I think I'm saying that right. That was Alfonso Cuarón's first film, and it was like a romantic comedy. And actually, it was decent. Y tu mamá también was great. That's still probably my favorite Cuarón film.
That is good.
Yeah. So
I like Birdman more, I guess. But
that's Iñárritu.
That's what the fuck? I'm stupid. Yeah.
That's Iñárritu. Yeah. So he has Videodrome. I think that. So I'm looking at this guy's stuff. So he's Japanese guy that talks about cool films. I think he's Japanese, right? And he looks pretty cool. But I think that his I'll check him out. I'm gonna give him a sub here right now. I'll watch his next video. Thanks for recommending.
So the Reanimator theme song is just like it's taken like straight from Psycho's theme. It's like the same, but I really like Reanimator. I think that movie's really great.
I do too. Tom, do you have a hot take about a movie that you would want to scream about? Again,
hot take about a movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, this isn't that crazy, but I was thinking today, a lot of people always say that they like the 5th episode of Star Wars the best. I like the 3rd the most, Revenge of the Sith, for sure.
I'm one of those people who likes the 5th episode the best.
Yeah, I think that's like what most people who are interested in film would say. And there was probably a time when I liked it the best, but I rewatched it not that long ago, and I like the 3rd a lot better.
I mean, I think we all know that the 2nd is the best, but let's move back.
Fuck off.
I gotta leave this ball now.
Yeah. Let's go back to Scream.
No shit. I used to watch that VHS like constantly when I was a kid. Star Wars Episode 2.
Yeah, I had the VHS as well.
I mean, there are cool things about the movie. It's just not very good. But
it's shit. Like, I agree.
My hot take is I don't think any Star Wars movie has necessarily been great. I think some of them have been decent and good for what they're doing, but I never really saw Star Wars as great films. I always saw them just as like popcorn. like toy.
Yeah, I mean
toy
they are really
commercials.
goofy. It's really just like space wizards and dumb shit, you know.
Yeah,
I don't think it should be looked at through like a super intellectual lens.
It's why
They're
I
kind of
honestly.
giving too much credit.
It's why it's like you had all these YouTubers that were like getting so outraged, like, how can you believe that The Last Jedi is so bad? And I'm just like, who cares? Like, it's a toy commercial.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't care. Like, they've never really been that great. Okay, so this one sucks. And yeah, I watched it. It sucks. It's like, yeah, it sucks. But honestly, who cares? It's a big budget, stupid blockbuster movie that sucks. Oh,
Yeah, there was a
that's
huge debate on
revelation.
YouTube about that though. There were like people getting heated.
I know.
Like Mahler was really
Yeah,
because there's like two camps. There's the one that like hates the new movies, and then the one that like likes them.
I know.
So they're really going at it.
And the ones that hated it, really hated it. I'm like, I didn't like the sequels at all. Like, The Force Awakens was really bad. Like, if you try to rewatch that, the acting is so bad. The pacing is
Which
all
one
over
is
the
that?
place.
First one.
That's the first one.
Oh, so that's like the remake of the actual
Of
first Star Wars.
yeah, the New Hope.
I haven't seen it since it came out.
But
I
somebody,
fucking hate Star Wars, dude.
yeah, someone asked Blade Runner versus Star Wars. Is that even a debate?
That guy's trolling.
Yeah, yeah, that's not even a debate, dude. Blade Runner, the same guy, Kim Jong Un says Blade Runner is a lot like Scream in a weird way.
He's trolling.
I mean, Blade Runner was taking like the I mean, the cyberpunk is film noir mixed with sci-fi, but Ramadan Steve says, anyone remember the Right Opinions video defending it that had Quentin reviews as a feature? Wait, is that real?
I don't watch either of those channels.
I don't.
Yeah. I don't watch them either, which is weird because I'm like kind of friends with Red Opinion, but I don't watch his videos at all.
I don't watch.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch 4 hours about Nikocado Avocado.
His videos are janky as hell, I think. I tried to watch some of his videos, and I think he uses a bunch of editors.
He does.
Yeah, he uses like 5 different ones. Yeah.
It feels so strange. I don't know, and the way he cuts his narration and everything's just so.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a very
breaking.
cohesive like video.
Yeah.
A lot of them just feel very disjointed and weird. I
Unlike-
think he is good at writing. I think he's talented, but I prefer personally YouTubers who, maybe this is a weird take, but I really like the idea of a YouTuber being able to do it all. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like their creative vision is a lot more like easy for them to realize in that way.
Well, I think all of us, we all edit
yeah.
our own videos. We all write, record, and edit our own videos. It's like we're just one man.
Yeah.
We're all one man armies on this stream.
Yeah, I mean there are instances where it's done really well, like Internet Historian, he does a really great job with his
Yeah.
videos, and
And he has
he has like a whole team.
yeah, he's like 5 people working for him.
Yeah, obviously Gamer from Mars.
Gamer
does a
from
very good
Mars.
job, I think.
Yeah,
But,
I'm writing his next internet mystery or whatever.
Yeah, there are just like specific cases
Yeah.
where I feel like it doesn't really work, and I think The Right Opinion is probably one of them where I prefer him to do all of it.
Yeah, but I don't think he's edited a single one of his videos.
No, he hasn't. No.
Yeah, it's
Didn't Quentin Reviews have some kind of drama or something?
yeah.
I remember
but-
listening
a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pete Jones screaming about him being an NPC or something.
It was-
and
Yeah, it was on the State of the Union or State of the YouTube podcast. Mumkey said something like how he wouldn't trust Quentin around his kids. Like if he had kids, he wouldn't trust Quentin around him. Yeah, he was just.
his political opinions.
I mean, in all fairness, that wasn't all of it, but it kind of like some of it started with that, and then
Yeah.
when Monkey got his channel deleted, Quentin made a tweet. He was like kind of happy about it, I guess, and people were pretty upset about that.
Yeah, and then they went on to State of the YouTube, and that was awkward. And Internet Historian was on, the one trying to moderate, but then his mic failed, so he he ended up not actually being in the podcast, even though he was talking to them. That was a really weird drama, but Quentin's just sort of like the guy that's constantly burning bridges with everyone around him. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, same. You know, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we even had people in the chat earlier that was like, Kino, how do you fuck with Tom? Don't you know he's a racist? I'm like, oh my god, okay. It's like I just expect that stuff to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's at the point where like I wouldn't blame anyone for distancing themselves from me. Honestly, I don't really.
I mean, they obviously weren't aware of our very diverse set of people in this stream.
I mean, but it's like, I say enough dumb shit online, and it's like, if someone is like, I don't want to follow this guy because like I don't want to be dragged down with him. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but you get away with it because you're a black trans woman.
Exactly. Hilarious joke. The classic saying you're something that you're not.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Yes, I am. Yes, Kim Jong-un, I am Kino pilled. I've always been Kino pilled, and if you guys want to know what a good Kino pill is, it's a mix of a red pill and a black pill, and it's actually mostly just a black pill when you realize that film is dead.
You don't really seem very black pilled to me, actually.
No. I mean, I'm more like ironically black pilled. I'm just ironically a doomer.
I'm pretty black pilled about the state of movies right now.
I am. I am too. It's just like even before COVID, COVID might actually be a blessing to the film industry, because if it like kills off the big budget blockbuster, if it really sort of changes up a lot of stuff, it might actually mean that we're in for a new renaissance of sorts. I'm hoping for that.
At least we have A24 Productions.
Yeah, but A24 is. I actually started a series on my second channel, which I've only done one video for, and it's just about A24 movies that I don't like. And the first,
whether or not they're hate like, every time is a different story. The point is that at least they're putting out movies that are like less cliche or taking a little bit more of a risk. They're just different in some way.
Well,
I can appreciate that.
They are, but they also have almost their kind of like
style now.
Assembly line production. Very just a box that they fit in. They don't take that many risks. They have Okay, yes. That's great. I love it, but like it still fits. Like it's not like they're still in a box. I want like a production company that actually takes wild risks.
I would say that I would say if I had to say like a production company that I'm usually or not a production company but a distributor, because A24 is a weird distributor too, because it distributes to cinemas, right? But then it also like subcontracts its distribution.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So like Uncut Gems was actually distributed by Lionsgate, even though it's an A24 film. It was distributed by Lionsgate, and Lighthouse became a Universal film, which honestly, the Lighthouse feels much more like a Universal film than it does like an A24 film. They have. I don't know. They just have some weird business stuff that's going on. But A24 does sort of cater to a very specific kind of like
hipsters.
Like hipsters basically. I mean, if hipsters exist now, but it is that kind of demographic of like between the ages of like 14 and 35, upper middle class, sort of people. It's movies made for that demographic. And if I was to look at a distributor, I'd be like, yeah, this distributor is someone that I really like. I don't know. I mean, I do like Magnolia's hit or miss, but I do like a lot of films that are released by Magnolia. The Orchard is also usually pretty good. Neon can be. I mean, Parasite was Neon, and Possessor, the Brandon Cronenberg movie, is Neon. I don't know. I mean, I'm honestly like. Kai Jane says dudes on Twitter talking about A24 when they're a 24-year-old virgin.
Nice.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Got him. And half of film Twitter. I don't want to say it on YouTube. I was gonna say it, but I'm not gonna say it. Honestly, like something that's interesting with A24 is I brought it up in my video on because I covered their first film on my second channel, A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III, which is a terrible movie, and it was A24's very first movie, and it's awful. And the thing that I was saying about A24 is that it's weird for me that people love the brand so much, that it's just a distribution company, and they have a loyal following that people don't really necessarily follow the directors.
That's what happens when you put your name in front of a bunch of, like, they had a bunch of movies that hit well.
Yeah, they had a
their
bunch
name
of
shows up in front of it.
They have a bunch of movies
They
that
all
hit
have
well.
style
Yeah.
to it too.
Yeah, they have a bunch of movies that hit well. I mean, they honestly have about equal parts movies that are good and movies that are bad. But I would say that I would say that I think it's just part of the whole like film scene of the last 10 years is that there's more like brand loyalty than there is like loyalty to actors or to directors. Like people are like, this is the new Marvel movie. This is the new Disney movie. This is the new A24 movie. And A24 is kind of doing the same thing that Marvel and Disney's doing, but just for different
in a way,
owners.
there's like a. Actually, you go first, Doki.
There's no actual like A-list celebrity anymore. There's no A-list celebrity that can open a movie, and like just because of him being a celebrity or her attract like an actual audience that they would make their money back.
I kind of
from
feel
the movie.
like you could see this reflected in YouTube as well, where it used to be that like YouTube, like all the big YouTubers were very much personality YouTubers, but now you don't see as many personality-based channels, and you see more like everyone has a shtick that they do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's more like a brand name channel.
Well, because of the overwhelming amount of people who have a platform now, the whole idea of celebrity has eroded completely. It's not the same that it was when Brad Pitt was in his prime. Like that is a different level of celebrity that no one can attain anymore. It's impossible. Like maybe Leonardo DiCaprio
Kanye West
kind of has that still. Yeah, like Kanye West. Yeah. Okay, so musicians have that to a certain extent.
I mean, we are seeing kind of like this weird phenomenon where like instead of appealing to everyone, you appeal to like a very small group of people. That's kind of what the internet has done, I think, just catering to specific audiences.
It's broken everything up into niches much more than before.
Yeah. It is really weird though to see like the other day like AOC was streaming with Pokimane and like Hassan. That was like so surreal to me. Like I was like,
that was like the third biggest Twitch stream of all time.
Well, now
how many people were watching live?
That was the second time she did something like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. She's talked to H Bomber guy. I know that. I've seen.
Yeah, when he was doing the donation stream.
That's different. She wasn't playing a game.
Now, some more politicians were doing an Among Us stream today or something. So Among Us is officially cringe. I think it's been cringe for a little bit at this point, though. Like it was like Fall Guys was cool for like one day, and then.
I like Fall Guys more than Among Us. Maybe it's because I suck.
Wait, what is Fall? Oh, okay, now I remember.
Mario Party Battle Royale kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't play either of them.
I played Among Us like 3 times. I actually only played Among Us on stream. Like I never really played Among Us.
Same.
Like just for fun. And I know that I played Among Us on stream here, and like everyone got pissed off at me, and like no one was watching. So I was like, all right, I'm not doing that again.
Among Us was it's like one of those games where when I tried it out myself, everyone had already been playing it for a few weeks and just knew everything. And then I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing, so it would be like...
Same here.
People would just assume I was imposter because I couldn't explain myself, and I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, you weren't doing the tasks. I'm like, I don't know what the fucking tasks are. Like, I don't know what I don't know what room I was in. They're like, where were you? I'm like, I don't know. I was over...
Somewhere in the bottom left.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know where I was.
That's something that, like, I don't care for in games these days where... To a certain extent, I actually do like this, but there is something that holds me back from playing games where it's like I have to read a fucking textbook before I even fucking
the
get
barrier to entry.
Like it's just like it immediately turns me off. But at the same time, if I'm willing to like get into it, then and be like I want to be competitive in this game, then there's a catch-22 there, I guess.
So I want to respond to some stuff in chat. Steve said something. I wanted to respond to a little earlier, and he said, "Will there be a Spring Breakers video?" Now, I actually do like. I'm a fan of.
I do too.
Yeah, I like Spring Breakers quite a lot, and I have a story about Spring Breakers. So they shot that in Sarasota, Florida. They shot that. It's just like south of Tampa, in Clearwater. But I'm a Floridian, and so I was working. The year that movie came out, I was working in Panama City Beach, and I was working for like the tourism board of Panama City Beach. There was a big commercial that was being made to basically get people to come to the city, during spring break and stuff. Well, they were trying to rebrand to not have like kids coming. But anyways, I pick up the producer. I started out as a PA, and the first day, my only job was to go to the airport, pick up the producer, and bring her to the hotel. Like, easy day of work, full day's pay. I mean, it was awesome. Anyway, so I pick her up from the airport, and we're driving to her hotel, and she's like, "I've never been to Panama City." And I go, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's cool." I go, "I actually try to stay away from Panama City." I said, "I kind of hate this place." And she was like, "Why? What do people do here?" And see, I had just rewatched Spring Break like the night before. So I started doing a James Franco impression from Spring Break. And I just went, Spring Break forever. Like, I didn't know this lady at all. And I started just doing the James Franco impression from Spring Break. I got promoted to art department.
And you were saying yesterday that
I thought you
have autism.
I thought you were gonna say you fucked her after that.
No, I got promoted. My pay doubled. I was getting $175 a day, and then my pay, I ended up getting $350 per day after that. And I had to do literal like jack shit. I was just like sitting on my ass all day, and it was so funny. It was like, what did I do all day? I think that like the next day, the only thing I did was I went across the street and rented a surfboard. And like I got the surfboard, and I'm coming back to set, and then one of the producers goes, "Why are you carrying that? Just have a PA do it." I'm like, "All right, hey, come get this." I just didn't do anything for the rest of the day. $350. Yeah, and actually I was thinking of doing a thing on a because it is kind of a meme that like I love the Tree of Life, and I was thinking of doing like a James Franco impression, but instead of having Scarface on repeat, I have the Tree of Life on repeat. Just doing the Kino version of that scene where he's like, "I got that blue Kool-Aid, I got that spaceship goes motherfucker out of space, I got that spaceship bed, I got Scarface on repeat." But I was thinking, with my channel having it be the Tree of Life or Decalogue or something.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I might do that.
I
I might do that in a future video. If I do a video on Spring Break, I'm definitely I might get a wig or to get like cornrows. I would definitely
just dress up like Riff Raff.
Yeah, which is what he was doing. Yeah, he was riff rapping there.
Since you like the Spring Break, and I really like Spring Break as well, actually, the movie. But do you like Pain and Gain, the Michael Bay movie? Because I think that's actually
movie.
I
really like that movie. I think it's really good.
I hear a lot of people say good things about it. Tom, have you seen it?
Oh, that's with The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie, yeah. I might have seen it a few years ago. I don't remember much about it though.
It has the same energy.
Michael Bay sucks, so it was probably going to be bad, and then it was actually good.
Yeah.
What is it about?
Like a gym bros, basically, and then they get into a stupid scheme where they try and do like a job, like a robbery job. I forget exactly all the details. It's been so many years, but it has that same kind of frenetic energy of Spring Breakers and kind of that like neon look. A very similar look and editing style, and yeah, it's a good movie. It's like solid. It runs a little long though. It's a little too long, but
yeah, I mean, Michael Bay knows what he's doing when he's making movies. Like, he knows how to make a good film, but he's like one of those guys, like, he knows he kind of knows what people are going to see him for, so he really plays into that. But to do that, you do have to know, like, you do have to really know a lot about filmmaking. And if you see stuff behind the scenes with Michael Bay, you'll see that he's quite knowledgeable.
Technician.
Yeah, I mean, he sees himself. Yeah, it's kind of like, there's always been this debate, like, are you a craftsman, technician, you know what I mean, or are you an artist, an auteur, whatever.
It's more of a craft.
Yeah, and he's definitely a craftsman.
Even like James Cameron, but James Cameron is like a better version of that, and then David Fincher is a way better version.
Yeah,
of both of them. He's a craftsman, like master craftsman, David Fincher.
Yeah, and I might end up covering Mank or something when that comes out. I think that's coming out this December. But yeah, I mean,
that's so weird. The fucking, like, it's digital, but then it's a homage to.
That's the thing that
shoot it on film if you're gonna fucking do a homage to
1937. Yeah, that was my big gripe. Is he shot it on a red camera, and he shot it on a red, and it's just sort of like, gosh, with how much money you're putting into this, you might as well just shoot it on film. It's not going to change the budget at all. Because, it won't. Shooting on black and white film, The Lighthouse was shot on black and white film, and that had a budget of $4 million. I mean, Mank obviously has a much bigger budget. They can afford it. I
think that, because Fincher likes to let the camera roll and then make people do, 50 takes.
Yeah, I think he just likes digital because he can do 50 takes a lot easier, and he's not going to have the studio telling him to not do as many takes. That's why directors like the Safdie brothers and directors like Wes Anderson and stuff, they don't do near as many takes, and that's why I think they can still afford to shoot on film. I know that Wes Anderson does something something he said a while back is he's like, you're not really going to get anything different after 7 takes. And the Safdie brothers don't do that many takes at all. I know Herzog does 3 takes and he moves on. Same with Clint Eastwood. It's just are you the kind of director that just gets what he wants and then, and then moves on, or are you like Fincher where, it's just you kind of maybe don't know what you want and you're just, I think it's also just this process of just trying to get the actors so have it down to muscle memory so much that everything becomes memory. But I don't know.
Okay, dude. Someone just said in the chat, "Social Network" by David Fincher is somewhat overrated. Bring this guy into this call so I can debate this motherfucker. Okay, that is a great fucking movie. That is a solid as fuck movie. Okay,
Braden.
I will shit on your face.
Braden Murphy. All right. You know what? I will set this up. I will set up a Kino Bloodsports.
Make sure it is actually physically possible for Oki to shit on his face.
That is physically possible. I will fucking UPS the shit out of that, dude.
Kino Fight Club. Yes, Kino Fight Club. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? I can do this. Oki versus Braden Murphy.
Braden, come in here, okay? You're Braden Murphy travels, so travel over here. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Do you want me to give him a Discord? No, I'm not going to give a Discord link to this server because this is our private one.
Fuck.
But what we can do is I'll put a link to my server in the chat, and
well, maybe just let him dude. Okay, Braden, write a paragraph about why you think that Social Network is bad or somewhat overrated.
Okay, we're getting way too off topic here.
Yeah,
Someone has to say it.
Scream is an okay movie. It's all right. It's not the most revolutionary thing of all time. It's it's good. It's solid as fuck. It's a great B movie that even without the whole meta aspect to it, it would still be solid as fuck. All those sequences are great. The death and the cat and mouse sequences are excellent. A lot of thought went into it. It's funny.
Yeah,
solid.
It's sort of it's a love letter to the horror genre. I mean, and it's also sort of Wes Craven being a little bit self-indulgent, like having the janitor be named Freddy and dressed like Freddy Krueger. You know, and in there was another bit of trivia that I read that when Henry Winkler opens up the closet, the jacket that he wears is the Fonz is in there. It's a lot of just like a lot of horror, you know, references. But what I did like is how they used Halloween to sort of mirror Scream. And I mean, it's mirrored in this.
When it's like, look behind you, look behind you.
Yeah, and even in the sense of like they're both like the white kind of like emotionless masks. Now I'm gonna like I felt like a retard.
And even in the sense that they both took a mask that was just like some cheap mask and made it like turn into this popular expensive thing.
Yeah, exactly. And they couldn't really track, you know, like who it was. Now I felt like a retard because I've watched, you know, I've seen Scream a few times, but I was I put it together recently. I was like, oh yeah, the mask is of the painting, the Scream.
Oh my god, you didn't realize that?
I mean, I just never thought, like, I never put that much thought into those movies. I don't know, like, every time I watched them before, it was, like, passive. And I watched it this time, and I'm like, oh, that's the Scream face. And I was like, why haven't I realized that before? But it's just because I never really put that much thought into any of the Scream movies. You know, it's just sort of like movies that come on the TV and just kind of pop it on. Taint asks, hey sexy, how have been? Question, what is the most red-pilled movie? Turkey Tom, I think you can take that one.
Birth of a Nation.
Good. Nice. Well done.
You had that one ready.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Keeping that on the back burner.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Scream. It's a nice I mean, it's a nice love letter and satire at the same time of the genre. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Oki that it's not like this. It's not like this super amazing film, but it's still really good, and it does what it sets out to do. And it's a fun movie to watch in Halloween. Like something that I'm gonna make a video this weekend, like a quick video while I'm slaving away for the Gamer from Mars. I'm gonna make a quick video about like movies I like to watch on Halloween. And you know, when I watch films on Halloween, it's not just like what's the scariest, but there is a sort of like a mix of spookiness and fun. And I think that Scream is a really good Halloween film because it is that good mix of like spooky and thrilling, but also just like fun. And you know, it's not like too light like Cabin in the Woods where there's no tension whatsoever, but it's not as serious as some of the other horror films.
It's like fucking Martyrs or something.
Yeah, it's not The Exorcist, which is incredibly serious, but
that's a great movie, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I love The Exorcist. And they mentioned that. Oh, and Linda Blair is in Scream.
Is she? I didn't even notice that.
She has a cameo in Scream. I saw it's like at 39 minutes in. She's a news reporter.
Oh, okay.
She's one of the news reporters in Scream. Yeah, Linda Blair. So, yeah, they really kind of went all the stops. They went through all the stops to sort of make this like the, you know, the, oh gosh. I'm trying to think of like a good comparison to Boldly Flee of the of the horror genre, having everyone in there. Yeah, Slush. Do you know about the movie To Boldly Flee?
No, I don't.
You should watch it.
I don't even know about that.
It's the that guy with the glasses movie, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The 3.5 hour long Doug Walker movie.
It's like Linkara wrote it, right?
Yeah.
And then Doug. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
So They Live versus Halloween versus The Thing. They Live is definitely the worst of that three, but I think Halloween
The Thing is the best.
I think that Halloween and The Thing are equal. I mean, they're very different, you know, and they're going for very different sort of feelings. So Mare, I'm guessing, Mare.
That's a good question.
Says,
go on.
What was your first horror movie and did it traumatize you? So my first, I don't know what my first horror movie was, because I guess maybe It, like the TV series I saw as a little kid. Yeah, I was scared by that. You know, I was afraid to go in the basement. You know, after seeing the scene. But then I remembered that I like watched to the end, and then when it's that stupid like spider thing, I just I wasn't scared about it. It didn't traumatize me. I'd say that the film that actually fucked me up as a kid was Eraserhead.
How old were you when you saw Eraserhead? Because I saw that in my 20s.
I was like 11 or 12.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and the scene that really got me in Eraserhead is when the lady is going, in heaven, everything is fine. And she starts like smashing.
With the cheeks?
Yeah, with the cheeks, and she starts smashing on like the sperm things that are falling onto the ground.
Yeah, with her feet. Yeah, she's stomping on them. Yeah, it's so off.
And then the little baby, and he like splits the baby open. Yeah, that really messed me up as a kid. But then it sort of gave me like this morbid curiosity to film, and so in a way it was kind of my gateway into Kino. At the same time, I saw Halloween as a kid, but it didn't traumatize me. Like, I have always viewed Halloween as a fun movie. It is like a Hitchcock movie. You know, Halloween is definitely structured sort of like a Hitchcock film.
Suspense movie.
Yeah, and it's a really fun movie. The Thing is another, like, I watched The Thing as a kid all the time. It was like, The Thing was like one of those R-rated movies where my parents didn't really care that it was R-rated. You know? And I was never really... Like, The Thing has always been about psychological horror for me. I actually just finished editing a video about The Thing today.
Nice.
So, yeah, so look out for that this weekend. Not gonna be on my channel, but
have you seen that like meme Twitter account where they post like movie screens with where they say the title of the movie, but it's always made up? They posted one for The Thing that's like, nobody trusts anybody now. Any one of us could be John Carpenter's The Thing 1982.
Oh, yeah. No, the fake, like, it's you. You're the American Psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're the driver from Drive. Yeah.
One of the first horror movies I saw was, I don't remember how old I was, maybe like 5, but I was watching, you know how AMC has their like horror movie marathon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Haunted House on a Hill, like the 99 one. I want to say it had Seth Green in it. I can vaguely remember it, but I remember it really fucked me up when I saw it.
Are you thinking of? Wait, what movie is this?
I think it's Haunted House on a Hill.
House on a.
Look, I'm trying to think of who was in it. It was really like kind of terrible. It had that chick from X-Men in it.
House on Haunted Hill.
Okay, yeah.
Those shitty like horror movies, like when I was a kid, that's what fucked me up.
Yeah, they were terrifying.
Like now I look back, they're fucking stupid, but like I remember like The Sixth Sense was the thing that fucked me up as a kid.
Yeah, that one.
When I saw that.
You want to know another one that fucked me up as a kid? And not in the sense that I was like, because like Eraserhead really disturbed me, but the others they kind of have these monsters that that you get scared of. The other one for me was Jeepers Creepers. Which is
I just recently
watched.
The
director of that is a pedophile.
He is a pedophile.
I heard about
he fucks kids. Yes.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers is made by a pedo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My movie, my first horror movie that fucked me up was The Ring.
Yeah, that fucked me up too.
Yeah,
and I was Jeepers Creepers
to go to the bathroom alone. Like I would like just leave the door open in my bathroom because like she's gonna come out of my toilet or something.
I remember
this movie. Holy
months after seeing that, and it was back to back. It was like The Ring. It was The Sixth Sense, The Grudge, and
Grudge,
like Signs. The fucking part with the alien in the Spanish part. I had to leave the theater with my dad when that part happened. It was it really fucked me up for a while. Like those movies, I was so scared of them.
Yeah, the
Papers. This fucking movie I remember so vividly playing on Sci-Fi when I was younger. I remember watching this movie over and over, and
It's actually a pretty cool movie.
yeah, I remember it being like really like I think if I watched it now it'd be really campy, but something about it seems like really like has like a cult quality to it almost.
I think that the monster like looks pretty stupid by today's standards, and
Yeah.
probably like would have been more effective if they kept it more mysterious visually. But I love movies that take place in one day, and I thought like
same actually.
Yeah, me
I thought
too.
Jeepers Creepers was a pretty fun movie.
Yeah, it's fun. Like looking back on it, apart from the fact that the director's a pedo. I mean, looking back on it, the movie is pretty. The movie's pretty fun. Actually, funny story about that director. Is that I have a friend who's like a child actress, and she's in the new movie coming out called Jungle Cruise, which I think has been pushed because of COVID. But she was in a few of my shorts when I was like starting off as a filmmaker, and she got offered to audition for that guy's like newest movie, and her parents called me and then asked me if I knew of him, and I was like, you know, he's a pedo, right? And they're like, oh shit. And they're like, she's not auditioning for that. You know, she was like 13 or 14.
To be fair, he seems to like little boys more so than
girls. Yeah.
To be
perfectly fair. But yeah, no, it's just a funny story. And not really funny, but just weird. Braden Murphy says, the guy that, you know, was saying how it was overrated, says, dude, you got
I gotta say something quickly to Braden because I didn't mention it earlier. Braden, listen, I remember my friend actually brought up the same criticism of Social Network, that it's not very true to reality. I don't think that matters with film. Reality is boring. If you're gonna tell a story, you can't, especially like a biopic, like what the Social Network is. You can't fixate on reality. You have to make a narrative. So I accept wholly any screenwriter, director or whatever that takes artistic liberties to construct a narrative.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, most, like, you're not going to be able to tell a reality in a film anyways, because it's like, that's getting into a whole sort of, you know, film philosophy argument that we honestly don't have the time for.
There's a difference between like reality and like being true to our reality, and then creating a reality in your film's universe and being true to that.
Yeah, it's more about like setting up your film's world and then sticking with that and sticking with the internal logic
operating
that you have.
within those rules.
Yeah, exactly, and possibly breaking those rules if you know, for certain purposes as well. You know, like in the sense of like in Scream, to go back to Scream, how they set up the rules of like how to survive, but then part of the fun of the last act is that they break all of them. And I think too that Craven breaks all of the rules, especially the rule about no sex, in order to up the stakes for Neve Campbell's character of Sydney. That with like, she has sex and now you think she's gonna die, and it's kind of a fake out in a sense, you know. It's like, but it makes you feel like, she's gonna. But it also is kind of thrown back to Halloween, right? Jamie Lee Curtis's character smokes weed in the original Halloween. She's like, you don't really know anything about Jamie Lee Curtis's you don't really know anything about Jamie Lee Curtis's life outside of that day in Halloween either. You don't know if she's a virgin or not. I mean, you kind of assume she is based on how she dresses, I guess. But you know what I mean?
Okay, hold on. Someone said if a story needs fake details to make it interesting, it's a shit story. Dude, what the fuck reality do you live in where you think that movies are a reflection of reality, to that point? Movies are fake. That's the point. It's storytelling. You're looking at the themes and you're using writing techniques and storytelling techniques to get a point across. If you're good, then you're trying to get a point across. But even with like something commercial, like a B movie or something, you have to take so many liberties to make sure that there's a flow and a follow through to make things interesting and keep things interesting. And people aren't fucking autistic when they're watching movies. They accept these things. This is how it has to be. There's no movie where like it's super like reality based where it's still fun to watch.
Yeah, and there's no real life story that's just like a movie. It just doesn't work that way. You don't get that like perfect 3 kind of act structure that you get with a
Fiction is strange. I mean, reality is stranger than fiction. That's a goddamn.
Just say reality is boring and don't make your videos like real life.
Well,
yeah. On that note, I gotta go watch the debates. But
all right,
fun.
See you, Tom.
I'm gonna go watch Biden get #raped.
And there's the monetization on that stream.
I wasn't expecting monetization on this stream.
Can I reply to Slush real quick? Okay, so maybe I mixed words a little bit here. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make, dude, is there's this one French film, and I know Kino knows about it, where it's this lady. She's a prostitute, and the whole time, like, there's just fucking 40 minutes of her just making lunch.
Oh yeah, it's a Belgian film.
Is it a Belgian? Well, I mean, they speak for anyway. Yeah, anyway. So that's boring as fuck. It really is so boring, and that's reality. Reality is boring, but at the same time, reality is extremely messy. Like my whole channel, the point of my channel. It's like I was inspired by Fargo, because I thought that Fargo took a very realistic story. The source material is actually based off a real story, even though they changed things a lot. And I wanted to look at how weird reality can get. And what I've realized from doing these videos for like 3 years now is that I realized that looking at reality and looking at how all these stories work, they don't work as movies. They don't work as books. They just, you could take things from the things that I cover on my channel and then make a story, but inherently they aren't like, they don't fit the molds of film or fiction, really, because reality gets in the way.
Yeah, in reality, like when we're so reality too, when we're looking at how like strange reality can be, it's usually either like this one-off strange thing. It's not necessarily a story. It's just like a strange occurrence. Like I saw like a few weeks ago this family that looked semi-normal, but the dad had the heroin flu and he was shaking uncontrollably and just like spitting up tons and tons of like mucus everywhere. And the family was acting like nothing was happening and just talking to us like everything was normal while he was behind them, like literally withdrawing from heroin. Like that's a really strange thing, but it's also not a story. There's not really a way that it's like one thing that I could put into a film is like something happening in the background, but it's not something that's going to be the main point. Or in another sense, reality is weird. But you have to sort of look at it in retrospective, and you have to bring a lot of stuff together, and you have to sort of condense, and you have to, and a lot of times when you talk about weird stories that happen in real life, there's a whole lot of boring stuff that you just don't remember about those weird stories because they happen over a period of time. It's like when you're talking about a movie, you're talking about 2 hours. Like, how are you going to make a movie as realistic as possible? It's got to be in real time. Probably unbroken cut, but at that same time, it's got to. If you want to make it about reality, then you have to have all the boring parts in it. But even the movies that supposedly take place in one cut for real time, it's the story itself is condensed to have a lot of stuff happen to it in that
time. It's extremely embellished. Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and
exactly.
So the thing is that a live stream like this is closer to reality than any movie's going to be able to get, because it's a conversation, and there's boring parts of this conversation, and there's interesting parts of the conversation. And it kind of comes and goes. There's no real arc to it. We were talking about one thing, and then we got sidetracked and talked about another. And it's not structured at all. It's not going to work as a movie. When you're looking at a movie, like when you're adapting something that happened in real life for a movie, you have to look at what happened, but you also have to sort of rearrange some things. You have to embellish some things. You have to cut out some things. You have to change a lot. That's why there's really no such thing as like a fiction movie or even a documentary really that's very true to life. Because even documentaries, you're only seeing the cameraman, you're only seeing the director's point of view, and there's a lot of stuff edited out that happened that you're not seeing. Tens of hours of footage that
all of my videos could be 2 hours if I added everything that I research and know about the story. I'm literally like, I take it and as much as possible I base it off of reality. Of course, I have to, but at the same time, I'm constructing a narrative. I'm constructing a story. And it's constant structuring and it's constant rewriting and trying to fit everything in and trying to attain a sense of flow. But I was just thinking about what we were talking about with podcasts and like My Dinner with Andre. That whole movie is just a conversation. And it's not like this. They spent years developing that, to the point where they could write that screenplay so it works and it's just all based off of words and it's still compelling.
Yeah, it's still a very engaging film and it's a really great conversation, but it feels real within the film. But if you go and you have a conversation with somebody at dinner, even interesting people, like if you came to have dinner with the Kino crew, if you came to have dinner with Oki and Slush and Tom and Glink and all of us guys, even then, as interesting as our conversations could get, it still wouldn't be at the level of My Dinner with Andre, because it is sort of like the best parts of maybe the best stories, the best parts of conversations condensed into one, to make a compelling film. And so there is a lot of changing when, because film exists, each film exists with its own logic, and depending upon the logic of the film, depending upon the purpose of the film, depending upon a lot of things, honestly, you have to change and restructure things in order to fit that. It's like that's just what's going to happen. It's like when you're writing a book, when you're making any piece of art, a painting has borders. You can't just, at some point, the painting is going to end. You can't show everything. You can't, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's so you have to pick, in a painting.
That's a really good analogy for that. Yeah.
So Braden also says, okay, I recommend the documentary Empire of Dust. I've heard about that. I think you might have recommended that.
No, he said Tabloid, didn't he?
No, but he recommended another one called Empire of Dust.
I haven't seen that. I've seen Tabloid. That's it.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of them.
Dust?
I don't know.
I watch a lot of documentaries.
I actually don't watch that many documentaries. I watch a lot of, fiction. And what's funny is I don't watch a lot of documentaries.
Oh, this is the one with the Chinese guy. This is the thing that gets posted on 4chan all the time. This is is this an actual documentary? I always thought that this was not, I thought that this was kind of, these are kind of actors or something. Why did I think that? But anyway, no, it's about, Chinese workers and working in Africa to build, I don't know, they're working in some kind of infrastructure.
A mining town.
And there's this whole clip that white nationalists constantly post where it's this Chinese guy just getting down on Africans being like, oh, you people can't even make a transit system. You people are fucking dog shit. And it's I don't know. That's the only thing I know about that movie, and it just kind of pisses me off that it's used by people to be like, oh, look at how fucking stupid black people are.
Well, weren't they also kind of like that in that documentary American Factory to the American workers? Like, I think that's just like a.
It's like different though, don't you think?
I mean,
don't you think it's different in a way?
Well, I mean, I think that for the Chinese who are going to other countries and having that sense of Chinese superiority, it's whether it's black or whether it's whatever.
I think it's easier to have a sense of Chinese superiority over Africans than it is to have over Americans, like white Americans. I just genuinely believe that. I think that most people in the world think that Africa is the shithole continent of the world, and oh, look at this Chinese person just pushing that same narrative. So that's what I believe. So when I see shit like that, it just bothers me.
Yeah, I haven't seen that clip actually, but I haven't been on 4chan in years. I know. I'm half my subscribers are gonna leave. So Braden Murphy says the white nationalists who promote the clip from Empire Dust missed the fucking point of the documentary. Yeah, probably. Probably they missed the point. I mean, I don't think that having somebody say stuff like that and putting that into a movie is because you're necessarily promoting it. And that's another thing that, like, I notice some people thinking, and I know that we're getting a little bit long here, but I want to just like say something that does bother me, is that people think that if somebody says something in a documentary or if a character says something in a movie, or that means that the filmmaker agrees with that person, that it's the filmmaker talking. But it's like I don't know. It doesn't mean that John Carpenter like agrees with killing innocent babysitters. Like, I don't know. I see this kind of touted around from honestly both sides. People are like, "Can you believe this person said this in this movie?"
I mean, okay. Here, I'm gonna give you a good argument for this, right? So you look at the guy who made Red Dawn. That guy is an extremely conservative guy to the point where he thinks that conscription should be legal. Yeah, like he wants conscription to be mandated. All of his movies are extremely pro-war. He does put propaganda into his movies, and there's a lot of filmmakers who undeniably put propaganda into their movies. Yeah. That is completely different from someone who's just like it's just because they enjoy horror movies, like Wes Craven or John Carpenter or anybody who just. I don't think that they're trying to advocate people to become serial killers, but there are definitely people like look at Leni Riefenstahl, right? Like, yeah. It's clear that there are directors who put propaganda into their films.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always been film has always been a propagandistic medium. Going back to the USSR, really, like Lenin and Stalin, really believed in the power of film, power of Kino. And Kino fist Sergei Eisenstein, and obviously my channel is propaganda for the Kino pill. I am propagandizing good movies, and that's the whole purpose of my channel. Actually, is propaganda. I'm putting out propaganda to get people to stop watching cape shit. Basically, It's pretty much but yeah, no, I mean there is propaganda, but there are a lot of people that completely miss the points of films based on characters that aren't supposed to be necessarily liked or necessarily agreed. Like, it happens across the board. But yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping this up because it's getting a little bit late.
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta have dinner.
Yeah,
it's like 9:30.
Yeah, I mean you could have dipped any time.
All right, I'm dipping right now.
All right, see you, Slush. Thank you for coming on.
Hi guys.
And so yeah, so I'm just gonna, if anyone has any last questions in the chat, I think there's like a 30-second delay here, but if anyone has any last questions in the chat, I'll take like a few more questions. How long have we been going? 2 hours and 23 minutes. This is one of my longest streams. But we went on a lot of tangents. So there's that. Thank you, Oki, for coming on. You can dip out when you want.
It's been fun. No, I mean, I'll just let it end.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it like another 2 or 3 minutes, just so that people can ask questions, because there is a little bit of a delay here.
I just want to know, but okay, so anecdote doesn't prove the point. What does he mean by that?
I'm not quite sure. I think maybe it's like a singular scene from a film doesn't like prove the point of the film. I think he's talking about maybe you bringing up the one scene and how it's. Honestly, I don't really know. I don't know what the context is. Sometimes with chat, it's a little bit hard to understand what they're actually responding to. But yeah, if anyone has any last questions, I am going to be making a bonus video this weekend. After I write the next Internet Mysteries for the Gamer from Mars, which I'm doing tomorrow morning. But I am going to be making a bonus video this weekend about movies I like to watch on Halloween. It won't be as produced as my other videos, but I figured since everyone is everyone is kind of keeping inside this Halloween, not really going out. People are going to be watching a lot more movies, and I wanted to recommend just some movies I like to watch, some movies that I don't see talked a lot. I don't see talked a lot on YouTube. Some that are talked about a lot, and because if it's like with this thing, it's like if you don't say a certain thing, then you get like tons of comments saying like, why didn't you say this? You have no taste. But some like more like weird films I like to watch on Halloween, low budget kind of cult films too, and foreign films. Yeah, it's gonna be like my Halloween playlist, and then I think next week after I finish that, because that'll be a short video, I'm going to be making a video on Fantastic Mr. Fox, because I've been drinking a lot of cider, like hard cider.
I hate cider. But yeah.
Well,
all right, nice.
Well, see, I normally don't like cider. It
upsets my stomach.
It does me too, but the thing is that for some reason this month, I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know what it is, because the last time I drank cider before, like this month, was years ago. It was like when I was 18, was like the last time I drank cider. So like 8 years ago, almost a decade ago. But for some reason this month, I just got like a craving for good cider, and so I've been like searching for like really good cider, not like the cheap stuff, but the really good stuff. And just drinking the good cider got me thinking about Fantastic Mr. Fox and how it's very like autumnal film, like a very sort of October movie. And so I thought I would sort of subvert expectations and release a video on Fantastic Mr. Fox, like how they made the movie. Because I know so much about how they made that film. I could honestly just write the script right now. It'd take me like 15 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do like that movie.
Yeah,
I'm going to say one last thing, and then I'm going to dip, actually, because I got to piss real bad. Go watch Last Shift if you like horror movies. That is the only horror movie that actually scared me as an adult. It's a terrible rating on IMDb. I think it has like a 5 out of 10. That's bullshit. The movie's fucking freaky. I like it. It freaked the fuck out of me. So go watch that if you're looking for something that actually scares you as an adult.
All right.
Which it didn't make.
I'll check it out.
And with that, this has been fun. Kino, you're awesome.
Oh, thanks.
And take care. Stay Kino.
All right. Thanks, Oki. All right. And I think that I'm going to end it here. I'm giving us 2 more minutes, guys. 2 more minutes for this. So if anyone has any last comments, questions, or concerns, speak now or forever hold your peace. Let me just put this in the chat because there's a delay. Any last questions? Okay, I'm going to end this with doing my horror voice. If I was to call somebody, if I was the guy from Scream, and I was standing outside with my cellular device, my cell phone, I would call and I would talk like this. Although it kind of hurts my throat. I would talk like this. I'm standing outside your door. maybe I would I don't know. That would be maybe be a little bit goofy. Oh, I gotta really okay. You know what? I'm gonna end this on a wholesome note. I got a really nice comment that kind of made my day today. I'm gonna heart it right now. Billy Goodmean told me, he commented on my Halloween video, "Love your stuff, man. You're one of the few video essay channels that talk about the art and solely the art. You don't shoehorn in your political opinion or get overly pretentious like a lot of these other guys do. Great stuff as usual." You know what? Every time like you leave a nice comment, I mean I read all the comments, so nice comments always make me feel really good. It's always nice to. I mean, if I do something bad, if I really mess up, like I like to know. I usually figure that out, but these comments do sort of give me reason to. They do give me reason to keep making videos, and I'm always glad to know that people who watch my videos like it. You know, I make it. I mean, I make it because I like what I'm doing, but I also want to make stuff that you guys like, and I'm always glad when you guys like it. So that always brings me a lot of joy. And with that, I'm gonna head out. And yeah, so anyone who is still listening, look out at Emp Lemon's channel this weekend. I am featured in his next video. And also, I will be making another video. Pretty soon. Wait. Oh. Okay, so wait a sec. What? The chat is being weird for me. Let me just didn't know Ghostface had such a low voice. Nice. Oh yeah. You should do a stream with Jay Dyer. Over again. Yeah. Say the line. I don't know what the line is. But yeah. Yeah, so I mean I love the copy pasta stuff too. I mean if you guys leave the Kino Corner copy pastas, that always makes me feel good as well. But yeah. With that, Fantastic Mr. Fox video on Halloween, and then next month I don't know. I have some ideas, but yeah. So just stay tuned. A lot of stuff is happening on this channel, and you said the line. Is it society? And thank you very much, and I'll see you all soon.